Hey, welcome to episode 13 of We Can't Code, So We Criticize. This is a weekly video game podcast between two friends where we share extremely biased opinions of our favorite games, and we also cover week-to-week gamer news. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
I'm just trying to see who can throw you off.
I'm just going to, Mike, we're going to get into episode 200 or something, bud, and you're going to be doing the whoop, and I'm going to be so happy that we're not in the same room, because I would, jump across and strangle you.
I always try so hard to throw you off every time.
I don't like it. You should, honestly, moving forward, you should just do it at the worst time. Just be like, hey, welcome to episode whatever of Week... Woo, 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 woo! And then just... Oh, god damn it. I don't even know why I gave you that idea. I'm regretting every word I'm saying right now.
Such a good idea.
All right.
That's why I decided to do this one.
So to circle back, just so we introduce ourselves here, if it's your first time, I don't know why you would start on episode 13, but whatever, if it's the most recent. My name is Ben.
And I'm Michael.
And, so typically we like to start out this podcast with just kind of like a, how was your week and whatnot. Yeah. So, Mike, I've got a crap ton to talk about. So I don't know how fantastic your week was. Mine was great. But if you had anything to go off of, feel free to go first.
Yeah, mine was pretty bland, honestly. Mine was mostly involved with work, so I didn't really get much time to play much into games. But I finally did beat Cuphead, though, which was nice.
Mike has been busy playing the game of life.
Yeah.
Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Go directly to jail. I know.
But I beat Cuphead, so that made me feel good. Fuck you.
Oh, man.
And then I played some the game Fury. That came out a while ago, and if you don't know what that is, it's just basically another type of boss rush game.
Yeah, you've been talking about that one in the past, so how's that been going?
I came back to it and actually beat the second boss that gave me trouble very easily, which was interesting. And I'm still in the third boss. It's not like he's hard, he's just so fucking tedious. Yeah. You just have to, his first stage is such bullshit. It's so easy to get through, it just takes forever. And it just, because, you have to shoot all of his shields down, and then you just hit him with one bullet, and then you go right to the next stage.
You don't have to shoot all of his shields. You just gotta get an opening.
Yeah, I know. It's just so annoying. And it's so easy to dodge all the stuff. I felt like it was really just a pointless stage. It's just so time-consuming part. And so, when I restart, it is all right, now to do this all over again? I'm like, no, thank you. So I started playing Diablo 3 again just to try to get some more equipment to... Well, you have to get some of these crafting materials to break down items. And to do that, you have to do these quests. And so that's what I've been doing with Diablo 3, just kind of slowly doing that.
Oh, okay.
Trying to make my character better. Still no luck. It's so annoying because for my character I kill things pretty easily, but not quickly. So those things take me a while to go through. And then when I complete it and I don't get the stuff I need, it's just so annoying. That's the only problem right now I'm having with Diablo 3. It's still fun. It's just annoying though that when I finally go through a quest and it's random that I don't even get any other things I actually want. I get a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm like, shit.
It's the luck of the draw, bud.
Yeah, I know. We need to do another group outing in that so we can, so I can just farm like crazy again.
I'm actually moving on from Diablo 3. I'm down to continue to play, but I'm no longer. It's been. I think 3 weeks is going to be my max for talking about it in the podcast. So
no, that's fine.
That was kind of our deal with what were we playing before? 7 Days to Die. PUBG we talked about for a while, but yeah. So I think PUBG is my limit. Though. I'm still down to play it with you, but it definitely... I think moving forward, I definitely wanted to talk about this idea before we started the podcast, but I think moving forward, I'm going to dedicate and lock in myself to one game in the podcast just so people know what to expect next episode as well.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, he's playing Diablo 3, can skip that next episode. No.
And then I also just started playing another game I had for a bit that I've been dying to start, and it's Darkest Dungeon. It's a roguelike game, but there's actually goals in it, which I didn't realize there was actually goals in the game, and so I'm really enjoying it even more now. I just started.
Explain the game to me, because I've heard it's awesome, but it just, it's like a text-based side-scroll. I don't understand it.
It's very interesting. So it's a dungeon crawling game, and you make your team. You get to pick who's in your team too, which is nice. You recruit heroes, and you get to recruit heroes, more heroes after every single time you go into the dungeon. And a dungeon takes up a week. So like 1 week passes, you get a new set of heroes to pick from. And then so the dungeon crawling part is that you take a team of 4 people into a dungeon, and you choose the way they line up. There's the back, there's the front, the second, third, and fourth, all in a row.
I could make a really good racist joke if I wanted to right now.
Yeah, you could. And it's kind of interesting. Your characters only can move left and right, and so how it works, how the movement works in the game, though, is that you start in a dungeon, and then there's a map in the corner, and you get to have these branching pathways. What you do is you click on the paths you want to take, and then you move right to that next. Then you take the pathway, and you see your character moving across the pathway. And on the pathway, you can see like some items to search. There is a danger though if you search the item, you can get like poisoned or feared, and some other stuff. Mm-hmm. Or you might run into enemies as you're going to the path. And then you hit the room, and then the room can have nothing in it, a treasure, or treasure and people to fight. And then after that, you choose your next branching pathways. Or you can go back and take a different route if you want to, which I thought was very interesting, which was very nice.
You thought it was very interesting, which was very nice?
Yeah, shut up. Sorry, my throat. I just drank like 3 waters, and my mouth is already dry for some reason, and it's really like distracting me.
I just drank a bottle of vodka, and fuck it, we're live. No,
no, like I drank like 3 glasses of water, but now my lips are so dry. It's so weird. I don't know how that happened.
No, but this is the funny thing. It's like if we don't make fun of each other during the podcast, then we're just gonna get nonstop comments after it, like, oh, you said Darkest Dungeon wrong, you slurred it, or like something like that.
Yeah, I know. So, I totally appreciate it. I'm not even pissed.
Mike, I'm laughing with you so that you don't get laughed at by millions in the future, by maybe 3 people. No, I'm kidding.
Fuck you. But, no, but yeah. And, sorry, I'm trying to recollect my thoughts now. But the game is kind of confusing. It doesn't do a really good job explaining what things are and like what abilities do and what these debuffs actually have, like what their effects are. But it's just so much fun. It's very interesting. It's a turn-based game, but depending on how fast you go, it depends on who goes first. So your whole team. So like after like 2 of your teammates would go, one of the enemies might go next too. It just depends on who's faster at the moment, and then who's like who has like the debuffs or the buffs to go faster and all that stuff.
That sounds like Final Fantasy X almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It would show like the next 8 characters, that were supposed to take their turns. But if you use like haste or slow or whatever, like a speed modifier, like it changed the order. You could see characters like jump down in order. It was interesting.
You don't really see the order. Like maybe you do. I just don't notice it yet because, like, once again, the game doesn't really do a good job of explaining how to play the game. But what I did find out was very important is like the most important thing is to do is to have stun, because like you can just you kind of figure out pretty quickly who's the strongest minions in the group, and it's like the main objective is just to stun them so they can just pass their turn. And like what I found like so far, whatever is the best thing to have is to have just 2 stunners on the team, and then just have 2 attackers.
Stone Cold Steve Austin leading your team. It's gonna give him the Stone Cold Stunner, Mike. Can you name your characters? Please tell me you named a character Steve Austin.
I don't think you can, but you can customize the way they look. I think maybe you can rename them too. Yeah, you actually can change their name. Yeah,
give him cut off jean shorts.
I haven't fully gotten into the game. Like I just started, and I only got like an hour into it so far. But another thing interesting about it, though, is that your characters can go insane, which then like reveals a weakness of them, and this weakness can be like minus 20% in range or something like that. Like they slowly go insane.
This game is continuing to sound more and more like WrestleMania 2018.
I don't know how that is, but okay. I never played that one.
No, I try to make jokes. Don't judge me.
Jokes are bad jokes.
Ben, you suck at jokes. Just let Mike talk. Okay, fine, other Ben.
But now, just like, so it just, honestly, I don't even know what the game is yet. I'm having a hard time actually knowing it either. I'm kind of learning as I'm playing. Because I'm just all my characters that I'm playing with now are just all insane. And sometimes they pass a turn, or they make fun of each other, making the other teams, like my other allies, go insane. Or they just like switch positions randomly in battle and just don't do anything. I'm like, you motherfuckers, just let me just take control of you. And they're like, no, we're insane now. Go fuck yourself. I'm like,
they play jokes on each other to make them go insane. What is this? Is like middle school Facebook bullying or something?
It is. It's so weird. It's like in the middle of a fight too. I'm like, I know you guys are crazy. I know things are weird, but just keep your shit together, all right? We're in a fight. And it's like,
there's a skeleton in front of us. Stop poking your friend.
Basically. And luckily though, it does like, even though it does happen, it's pretty, it doesn't really affect the game that much. Still, like, it's still easy to win the fights. Of course, I am playing on the easiest difficulty. But yeah, just Darkest Dungeon. Yeah, it's something, but I'm enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so complicated. Like, I want to bring it up again next podcast where I know more about it. I'm actually going to look up some videos before I play the game again, just so I can know more about it.
Yeah, I'm not knocking it or anything. I've definitely heard nothing but fantastic stuff for it.
But like, I know that I'm saying that was kind of all gibberish to me, because like when I'm saying it at the same time, like, because like when I think back about the game, I still don't know nothing about it. Like when you look at their abilities, they see so much of this random stuff that makes no sense, and I just try to look for like, all right, damage, yes. Does it stun? Cool. Like, I'm only understood maybe 4 of the abilities and like what their actual effects are. Because they're like, apparently there's like a stealth ability. Like, do they go stealth? But no, they're just attacking someone, so that doesn't mean anything. And they also have like marked and other things, and the game tells you nothing what those are, which is really annoying. So I'm gonna have to pull up like a wiki on it to get to know more about the whole thing before I jump back into it. Like, I'm still doing really good in the dungeon crawling part though. Like, my guys are still living; they still have full health. I'm already completed 2.
They're just insane.
Yeah, that's it though. They're just insane. Doesn't mean like they don't take damage.
They still have feelings.
Yeah, but I mean, sticks and stones. Yeah, that's all. Stick and stones. But what I do love about the game a lot though is that you can be in the middle of a fight and you can just leave. You can just leave the game. Just go straight to your desktop, and the game is saved. It saves every single time. So I can leave anytime I want, and the game is saved, even in the middle of a fight, which is awesome.
That is cool.
So yeah, because like right before we did this podcast, it hit me up as in the middle of a fight, and like, oh, okay, Ben wants us to get ready to start, so I just left right in the middle of a fight, and I know it's gonna be right there when I come back, which I think is fantastic. Yeah. And that's like the biggest bonus so far for me, because like I like a lot of rogue games, but one thing I don't really like about them is that you can't really leave during the middle of the game. A lot of times in most rogue games, you have to wait to get like a save point or something like that. With this, you can just leave anytime you want to, and it'll still be there when you get back. But yeah, that was basically my week. I also pretty much got a job too at home, so we'll be doing a lot more of these podcasts in a better environment with better audio too, which is nice. No. We'll be right next to each other, Ben.
Whoop whoop.
See, you're getting it.
Oh man.
But that was my week. The rest of it was just me just working. I didn't get any chance to watch any of my shows like Penny Dreadful this week, which sucks, but I've been watching a lot over during Christmas break and all that.
I actually watched the first episode of Penny Dreadful.
Yeah.
It's hard to judge on the first episode.
Yeah, that one is, like I said about it when I first brought it up, it takes a bit for you. I think it takes you to the 3rd episode to it actually shows you what's like the story about.
Yeah.
I think it's like the 3rd episode, like you get full circle.
Yeah.
Which is my only complaint about the show.
I don't mind if they take a little bit of time to fully explain themselves. Like, my favorite anime is Fooly Cooly, and you don't know what's going on until the last episode in that show.
You don't even know I still don't know what the hell's going on in the last episode.
Like, it's all about Fooly Cooly. It's not just the name, it's everything.
Yeah.
No, but,
yeah,
like,
I saw that.
I don't mind it, but there needs to be something going on in the meantime. Like, Fooly Cooly still had objectives every single episode, even if it wasn't the overarching, like, plot. The first episode of Penny Dreadful definitely just didn't really feel like there was much going on. And the only person that you're really truly introduced it to is Frankenstein. And the other two people, I still have no idea who they are. The girl and the older dude.
Yeah, their stories come in later. And I think there's like, you don't fully understand them, but they don't explain them to you until later. But with the small hits and cues throughout the show, and like in the next few episodes, you kind of know it already, which is nice.
Well,
but like their background is supposed to be shrouded though in mystery at the same time. So
I'm not knocking it or anything.
I know.
I never would hate on a TV show just by just by impressions of the pilot episode.
But no, like that was my biggest complaint of it too, though, is that it doesn't give you much to go on the first one. But you did like the sets though, right? I thought like the background and like all the character designs were really well made, like the costumes and all that stuff. I thought that was pretty good.
I thought it was fine, but they've got some real obsession with the blue tint over the entire screen.
Yeah.
Like, everything is so purposefully dark and blue, and I get it. It's like their theme, but it's still...
I didn't know it was dark, actually. It could be just your TV.
No way. No, it is so... They fuck with it so bad. It's got such a hard filter on it. It's like watching The Watchmen. Like, The Watchmen has such a...
I disagree with that. No, I totally disagree with that. I didn't think it was that dark. I know what you're talking about, though.
Nothing against The Watchmen, by the way. It's one of my favorite superhero movies.
It's pretty good. I liked it a lot, but it's one of those movies that I can only watch once, though. Honestly.
Done with you. All right.
I'm just saying, Watchmen. Yeah, I say it's still a great movie, but it's one of those great movies I like that I can only care seeing once, which I feel bad about, though. I mean, because I'm not going to buy their DVD, but I still like their movie.
You ever watch the original It movie, by the way?
Yeah, I watched that a long time ago. Like when everyone said it was so scary, and I was like, "Wow, you guys are a bunch of pussies."
Okay, that's right. Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah. I feel like Whoop Whoop is gonna become what they used to say to each other is "beep beep Richie." It's just like that's just kind of like what they would say whenever they're just like, "I'm done talking," like I'm done, like shut the fuck up, you know. I feel like Whoop Whoop is gonna become like just something that we're gonna not that it's gonna be shut the fuck up, but it's just gonna be like a consistent reoccurring thing. Like we're talking, and then one of us it's gonna be like a good 5-second silence, and then someone's just gonna be like, "Well, whoop whoop," you know.
Just to fill that awkward silence.
Pretty much. So is that what you got in your week then, or what else?
Yeah, that's it. I got like I said, my week was pretty bland, sadly, this time.
All right. Well,
I'm actually kind of glad we took a little bit extra time so I could play more Fury and some Darkest Dungeon.
I did want to talk about how Mike and I actually both put, without getting too much into specifics or anything, Mike and I both put our digital money where our mouths are, and from last episode we were both inspired to buy some cryptocurrency.
Yeah, and we made a profit.
Well,
which is nice.
I mean, we'll see. I'm sure next week we're gonna be like, everything's on fire. It's horrible. No, but
I have actually high hopes. I think the only way it's gonna go up. You know, like I didn't put a lot into it, but enough that like I was like, oh hey, not enough to make me retire on it, but it's like, oh that's cool.
Yeah,
a little extra money.
But so I invested into Ethereum and Litecoin, and Mike, you went into Litecoin as well as Bitcoin.
And I also went to Ethereum as well, but not as much, because I got it. Ethereum was a little bit higher.
Oh, that's right. You're doing the trifecta now.
Yeah, I'm doing the trifecta now. Just like I saw like Ethereum going up and up. I'm like, all right, I'll buy one coin. I'm like, okay. So I bought one of the coins, and it's going up again. I'm like, it's still going. I'm like, cool, made a profit. So
nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's like for me, just like in my mind, I know that digital money is going to be something that's going to come in our lives because there's already a few countries that their currencies are already going down the drain, and as the world is becoming more closer together, we're going to find some common ground of currency even more so. And I feel like Bitcoin and these cryptocurrency is going to be the thing. So I only really see them going up.
Yeah, so I had a lot of people asking me after just like, obviously I've been talking about it. It's my first ever investment. And so they were saying like, well, how do you know it's going to last? Well, first of all, I don't. Like, no one does.
Either do I. Like, I say this, but I'm not saying, oh, this is this is fact. I know this for sure, but in my mind, I only see it going up in the end. I don't see it going anywhere. Like, when I first heard about it, I thought it was stupid as fuck, but now I'm like, well, I'm wrong. It actually makes sense. And after buying it, God, I feel like that stupid meme now when it just shows a guy after he buys cryptocurrency. He's like, yes, I'm an expert now. But I looked into it. I've been looking more into it lately, and it makes a lot more sense to me now.
Well, the thing that I thought was a good reason why it has why it is probably going to be stickier than more people think. I mean, everyone talks about the bubble and kind of it popping and everything going down the drain, which, is a possibility, of course. But the one thing that I thought was interesting was that I guess a lot of third world or second world countries use cryptocurrency, because you started to touch on this slightly, Mike, but Croatia, I don't know why I named I don't know why I pointed at them out of anyone else, but no, I mean, just there's countries that they can't trust their own currency. I mean, I guess I could just, instead of pointing at some random country or the first one that comes to mind, I'll just go ahead and say Zimbabwe, because they're so easy to make fun of.
Also Greece too. So, I mean, Greece's money's going down the fucking drain.
Yeah,
so.
Screw you, Greece. Sorry for any Greece listeners. But you know what? We don't want you Greece listeners.
No, I'm just saying it's true.
Better
they
money.
have any major issues with their currency, so it's going down the fucking drain, sadly.
Yeah, but I guess from what I had heard is you kind of expect that kind of like these techies, these Silicon Valley kids, or just like people in the U.S., they're the ones that are buying up all these cryptocurrencies. But realistically, it's people in third world countries that can't trust their own currency, and they need something that they can exchange with U.S. dollars if they're planning, or just they need
something that goes up in value. They know that their currency is most likely not going to go up. So it's like, well, we need that type of money that we know is at least gaining some type of currency, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know banking systems in other countries, but you might have a point, Mike, where it might be a safer bet to invest into cryptocurrency than it is to put into a savings. I mean,
no, yeah,
I might eat those words, actually. I'm not going to stand by that, actually.
No, I mean, yeah, not to put all your savings into cryptos, but, they're going to they're going to put, probably half their money into crypto or something, most likely because they know that it's going up and it's going to be worth more than their money anyway, so
I don't know.
Why not just get it?
Nothing's certain, but more or less I think the point is that as unstable as cryptocurrency is, it's probably more stable than their money. So
that's pretty much the basic way of looking at it.
Yeah, I think that's probably, I mean, without having much knowledge about it other than that they do it, I think that's probably the safest assumption, is that as wild as cryptocurrency can be, I think it's probably still safer than a lot of these other countries' currencies. So, anyway, I just wanted to touch on that because, I mean, it felt timely. We had our segment last week about cryptocurrency, and I would feel bad if I had convinced someone else to do it and I didn't have the balls to kind of step up and do it myself. And I mean, I didn't make the largest investment ever, but it's definitely relative to how much money I have, it's probably it's my biggest investment that I've made, but it's not.
It's been my biggest too as well, but it's not like I put in the money that I'm willing to lose.
Yeah,
that's the thing, and that's the number one thing when it comes with buying stocks or just investing. Only put money you're willing to lose in the end.
Right.
And it may be really interesting to put all this money that you have in there and just risk it, but just don't. Please don't. Like we said, we don't know if this is going to be if it is going to keep up. We believe it is. I believe it is. I mean, that's why Bitcoin and that's the main thing that supports cryptocurrency, is believing that it's worth something. And I believe it's worth something. But once again, beliefs can only take you so far. It's a risk.
Yeah.
And don't risk your life on that belief.
Yeah. But always bet on black when you go to Vegas.
Yes.
Red is dead.
No, honestly, I just hit the craps table. Always put money on the field. That's what you do in the craps table. Always put money on the field. You win.
32 black, if that if 32 is black, maybe it's red. I don't know. 32.
There's no. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying you can avoid the black and just go to the craps table and just make money. Every single time I came up casino, I came out on top, just because of the craps tables alone.
Well, look at Mike. He's Miss Lady Luck over there.
Dude, the last time I went to a casino, I came out with an extra $400 just from the craps tables alone. It was nice.
Proud of you, bud.
Oh yeah, it was great. It's just like it gets so intense when you just have a pile of chips in front of you and you just like it keeps on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I can see how I fully understood like how people can just then lose. Like you see people get so high and then they just lose it all. It's like you just get so absorbed in it. But like luckily I had that in my mind, so I was able to walk away with 400 coming out with like 400 plus, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the hardest thing with the casino is just knowing when to leave.
Oh shit, dude! I'm on Steam right now.
Yeah.
I have it open. I was just going through the pages. That game that I recommended at the end of the last podcast, They Are Billions, the zombies game. That's on the top sellers for this month.
Yeah, a lot of YouTubers have been talking about it.
That's so cool. Oh man, that game looks sweet. Once again, I know I said this last podcast, but I might have to pick that up. We'll see. I've got a huge list, but maybe in time.
I had one that I was going to pick up that was supposed to come out today, and it's like the reason why I'm talking about it now is because like this is a game I had ready for. We were supposed to do this podcast yesterday, but we were both too busy to do it, sadly. And so, like, I had one that actually that came out today. I was going to pick up, but they got pushed off to the 27th. I'm like, are you fucking real?
That always happens.
Yeah, with all my picks too. Like every single time I come up with a pick of the week, they always somehow get pushed back every time. And I'm like, ah.
You've got to go with the games that have a specific, definite date. It can't just say December or something.
It did say a date. It actually said like the 18th. It just said December 18th. Like, cool, sweet. And like I made sure to write down my dates too next to the games. Like I have my list up, and I always write down the date next to them now too. And if they don't have a date, if they don't have an exact date, I just put no date then next to it.
All right.
And it was one of those that had a date on it, and it was just like, oh yeah, never mind, we're gonna go to the 27th for some reason. I was like, fuck you. It was a free to play game too, though. It was a single player survival game that it was only you move left and right only, but it's a survival game where you collect stuff and all that and build stuff. And it was actually free to play. It looked very interesting. It was pixel style.
All right, I've got a couple other games here. I'm just gonna blow through.
Yeah. So what about your week? Yeah, like you had.
So I just mentioned cryptocurrency here as like something that we both mutually did. But moving into more exclusively myself, I've actually got a handful of shit to talk about. So nice. A couple things I'm just gonna blow through. Like this first one. I played 3 additional app games this week because following last week's podcast, I figured I had fun with Soda Dungeon 2 weeks ago, and I thought I'd try some other stuff out. So I picked up 3 games. They were Adventure Communist, they were Egg Inc., as in like chicken eggs, incorporated, and Narco Cartel Wars, being a drug dealing game based off of the TV show Narcos. Or Narcos, or however. So, okay, they all are pretty much the same game, except for Narcos. I guess Egg Inc. and Adventure Communist are pretty much the same game. Narcos Cartel War was slightly different. So, to run through them, I was looking for something casual. Like, we're saying that I kind of want to turn my brain off when I'm playing a phone game. Like, I don't typically... Like, whenever I'm playing a phone game, I don't stare at the game and, like... do all the stuff. It's like I'm typically watching Netflix or something and I have my phone out, so something very simple. So we'll go along with the game I played the least. I may as well talk about first. So Narcos Cartel War. There was a lot of interesting ideas to this game, but at the end of it, it felt it was
like a Facebook game.
Yeah, I mean, well, they all do. They're all definitely just like simple phone games. Narcos Cartel War, though, I thought it had a lot of potential, but at the end it was just a game that I didn't... As stupid as this is almost never a complaint of mine, but it was And it's not that it's too complicated or anything, but it was too complicated for a phone game. There was a lot of tiny buttons, and there was just like, upgrade these guys, and assault. It was kind of like an idea of like Clash of Clans meets like your own personal tower defense meets like trading drugs, getting money through that way. It was a really interesting idea, but honestly, I just looked at it and I was like, I don't want to get invested into this. The other games that I played were more or less extremely idle games, meaning that you pretty much don't even have to play. You just kind of like watch a number go up, essentially. So the first one I'll talk about is Egg Inc. And this is going to continue to be going in order of how much time I put into them. So Egg Inc. I put probably like 4 hours into or something.
Do you raise chickens?
You do. And if you...
Oh my god, I want this.
Are you looking at it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at what you're talking about. Of course I'm looking at it.
Okay, yeah. So the graphics are what appealed to me the most. Like in Egg Inc., it's just so simple and bland, and like it's just kind of funny. Like, Mike, while we're talking, you should just download it and play it, because all you do is you hit this big red chicken button on the bottom, and a chicken is born, runs out, and goes to its coop, and then it makes you eggs. And so, like, with eggs being the currency...
I love raising chickens.
Since when? When has that...
Since Minecraft. Dude, when Minecraft came out, and, like, I would be playing with my brother, the first thing I would do would make a chicken coop and just raise a shit ton of chickens, alright? That's what I would do. And I'd keep on making so many chickens in this tiny little fence here, they would start glitching like fucking crazy in this little pen.
Okay, that's...
And my brother...
That's fine. But you can't just... Great. I'm just saying...
It is like, this reminds me of that time, and I just want to play this so badly. I just want to make a bunch of chickens and put them in a tiny place and just suffocate them to death.
Give it a shot. It wasn't a bad game. Like I said, it had the same amount, or it had the right amount of interest that I was looking for in a phone game.
It sounds like a cookie clicker, honestly.
It's exactly that, honestly.
Oh, okay.
Which, I mean, it's not bad. Like, it's...
No, yeah.
Once again, it's just something that you kind of like, you watch a number go up. And I played for 4 hours, and like, it was 4 hours at work, pretty much. I downloaded it when I first started the day, before anyone got in. I tried it a bit, and then like I checked on it a little bit throughout the rest of the day. I hit lunch, I played it through lunch, and I was like, okay, I'm done with this.
I mean, 4 hours is still, like, 4 hours you got to entertain yourself for a year, for free, which is nice.
Yeah, I'm not knocking the game at all, but definitely it's one of those things that you're going to walk away from being like, wow, I just wasted a bunch of time.
Yeah, but you're at work, so you got paid to do it.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing ever. I mean, there's definitely games that I've spent like 30 hours on that I'm like, wow, I wasted a bunch of time. And, that's... Like, in comparison to a game that's an idle game where you don't even have to have the game on and it plays itself for you. Like, it's definitely not a bad trade-off, I'll put it that way. But it's fine. Like, the coolest thing about it was the graphics. I mean, it's just so simple. Like, it's a bright game. It's just... And the funniest thing, too, is, like... So it shows you a basic farm, and it gives you this button on the bottom of your screen, and each time you click it, a chicken runs out of the coop, is born and then runs out of this one house and goes into the coop. But you can just smash that button. So it starts out as a tiny button, and then it just gets bigger and bigger, where you can smash it with 4 fingers, and each finger that it senses that it hits it each time, a chicken runs out. So you can just like just unload on your phone, and you just see chickens just exploding out of this building. Like it's pretty fucking hilarious as far as idle games go. But so I mean, I had a good time with it.
Chickens.
Okay, you're playing it.
Oh my god, you can make chickens.
Yeah, you get to make a lot of chickens.
Oh my god, just got to the 4-finger part. Oh my god.
Yep.
I'm amused too much by this game. Alright, I gotta stop.
No, it's fine. Like, honestly, that game wasn't bad. But, 4 hours, and then I was like, okay, well, it doesn't really lead anywhere, I guess. Like, all the perks and stuff...
It's cookie clickers. It's straight up cookie clickers.
Yeah, if there was a good objective to get, then, like, if there was something to work towards, then that was fine.
This is better than cookie clickers, because cookie clickers was just...
Cookie clitters? I'm sorry.
So this one's actually better because there's actually details. In that one, you just watch like a bar fill up. This one, there's actually animals and stuff.
Yeah.
Where are my chickens?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's an idle game. Like, don't go into this thinking it's the best game in the world. The purpose of it is to not play it, essentially. So, like, understand, like, Mike, it sounds like you had the right amount of anticipation for this game, because it sounds like you're loving it. But just don't listen to this and then be like, I have to play this game, because it's an idle game. So then getting into the last one. The last game is called Adventure Communist, which I guess is based off of a series that someone made, a game called Adventure Capitalist, and they were like, okay, well, this is the same game, but it's got like a communist, Russian theme to it. And it's the same thing as Egg Inc., where you just click a button, but it does it a little... There's like a bit more complexity to it. So instead of like just raising chickens, it's like if you had to raise a whole farm, essentially. Like, you click a bunch of times to get chickens, and then you can upgrade your chicken coops, and then eggs start coming out. In Adventure Communist, the best way to describe it is if you were able to raise cows as well, and then cows made milk, and then with milk you can buy better upgrades for other things. Like Adventure Communist, you start out just by picking potatoes. And then you pick potatoes, and then you can hire workers, and then those workers pick potatoes, and then you can make settlements, and then those settlements make workers, and those workers pick potatoes. And pretty much it's things that'll compile onto each other to just, at the end of the day, pick potatoes. But then there's other things you can do. So instead of picking potatoes, then you can cultivate the land, or work the land, essentially, for infrastructure. So this is how much land that you've cultivated, and then now you've got now you've got construction workers to do it, and then it's the same tier system where now you've got a construction university, and that makes construction workers, and those guys cultivate land or whatever, and then the next thing is ore. And you mine enough ore, and you buy a miner, and then that miner mines ore. It's the same thing over and over again, but everything kind of builds on itself a lot nicer than it does in Egg Inc. And so that game I actually found a little more rewarding, but once again, it's a relative, as rewarding as an idle game can be played. The other thing, too, is that it has one song that it plays over and over, and as catchy as it is, you just can't take it for that long.
Yeah.
But it's really fucking catchy for the first 2 hours. I was singing it in my head when I stopped playing Egg Inc. at lunch this one day that I got all these games, I started playing Adventure Communist. So I played Adventure Communist for the rest of my lunch hour, then I went back to work, and I kept checking on my potatoes throughout the rest of the day, and I had that song stuck in my head, and I was like, God fucking damn it. I already knew it was going to be way addicting.
I'm sure, yeah. It's right on the top of the list after I put an Adventure in.
Yeah, Adventure Communist. They're the same game, but there's also Adventure Capitalist. Okay, so those were the app games that I played. Moving on. Sorry, I played a bunch of stuff, so I'm trying to fly through this.
That's alright. There's no rush. Take your time.
Yeah, but I feel bad. For example, the next game I wanted to talk about was Zelda Breath of the Wild, but realistically, I'm going to be talking about that for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm only going to briefly touch on it, I'm sure, but right now I only played 3-4 hours, so I've got nothing to say about it except that it's looking very promising. Nice. I thought it was going to be overhyped, but the second that I got out into the world, I just got to Kakariko Village, which, I hope that's not a spoiler. It's a town that's been in almost every Zelda game.
Yeah,
but no, I had the first sense of adventure where they're okay, go anywhere. Here's where you should go, but you can realistically go anywhere. And I kind of wandered around, and it was pretty dope. I liked it a lot. There were some guys that I definitely shouldn't have fought as early as I did, and I spent an hour just trying to kill this one group of enemies. But there was there's a learning curve involved there. I didn't have good weapons. I was fighting them with sticks and shit like that.
So is there a strength bar you can raise up, or no? You just get better weapons?
So pretty much, yeah. You can cook things that give you buffs. You can get more health. Your weapons. Just you're gonna begin to build this is the word repertoire right? I don't think so. You're going to begin to build this like series of really good weapons that you're just going to hold on to.
Right, because your weapons can break. So
yeah, and they break after like 3 hits. That's easily the most frustrating thing about the game.
That makes no sense. It's like, how bad are these weapons? Seriously, who's making these weapons that they break after 3 times? It's like you're using the fraud big sword from
the
Ornrico of Time.
Yeah, the big Goron sword.
Yeah, because you can. Well, there's the real one. There's the fake one. So the fake one breaks after like 3 hits, and then you have like a broken sword.
Yeah.
Were you ever able to get the real one or no?
Yeah, the real one's called the Big Goron sword because the Big Goron forges it for you. Getting those eye drops were the worst.
Oh yeah, it was a freaking nightmare.
We had 5 minutes to get to Hyrule Lake. It's dumb.
Yeah, and like a lot of my gameplays through in that game, I really just didn't bother because it was such a pain in the butt. I was like, you're not even worth that much trouble.
Yeah.
I think I maybe only got it twice of all the times I played the game.
It is really freaking tough. But no, so like I think that Breath of the Wild is great. I don't think it's perfect, and I think that a lot of the things that bring it down are the weapon system. I understand, like, for anyone listening, I know, like, oh, it's to diversify your weapon skills and whatnot. I don't care, you know?
It's such bullshit.
When I played any other Zelda game, I had no issues using the sword over and over again.
Yeah. It's like, it's a good sword then. I'm like, yeah, this is how a sword should be. It shouldn't break after 3 hits.
The other thing, too, is that they've got a really weak way of switching out weapons. You can't just drop your weapon. Like, you have to go into the menu and drop it, or the other option is to throw it, which it's a little faster, but then, once again, you have to, like, go into a side menu and select another weapon. Like, there's no way to just, press B and your weapon just drops immediately. Like, it's got to be, like, a charge-up toss, or it's got to be... going into your menu, and you're always running out of weapon space because you can hold like maybe 7 or 8 weapons total, and when you first start out you pick up like all these sticks, and then like as you find other shit you're like, oh, I've got 7 sticks and I've got to get rid of 1 to get this weapon, and it's just fucking stupid.
Let me pause it and then drag this out. Alright, now unpause it, now pick this up, now pause it, switch my weapon back to my stick because I don't want to break this weapon right now, so we can go back to the stick, so then unpause it. Alright, now I'm ready. Alright, broke the stick. Alright, pause.
Well, pretty much. Like, it is ridiculous.
Really?
It's really...
Oh, yeah.
The weapon system is just really bad, but everything else is awesome.
Why not do like what the Skyrim did, you know? Hold on a button and the weapon wheel shows up and you just move up and it's like, alright, there you go.
Yeah, so they have this thing where you can quick select your other weapons, but at the same time... So it's like... You have to hold... So on the Nintendo Switch... There's the directional buttons on the left side. So there's the analog stick and then the directional buttons on the left side. So pretty much if you want to change weapons, you have to press right on the directional buttons. So that means that you have to stop moving and press this button and stand still, which the game stops when you're holding down the weapon select. But pretty much, like, I would feel a lot safer if I could still make sure I'm, like, shuffling backwards while I'm selecting my weapons.
Yeah, because it breaks the flow of combat.
Yeah, every time I jump back into the game, I get bitch slapped by another goblin or something, just because I took the half of a second to cycle through my weapons.
And it's, like, not even your fault. The weapon's gonna break instantly, so it's like you have to stop it and do it. Yeah, you think that'd make it a much more fluent game.
Yeah.
It's like... Nintendo's pretty good at making like really fluent games. You know, they have a really nice flow to it. It's kind of weird that they came up with that system for that game.
Well, either way, that is my only gripe. I know that we've been talking about it for a couple minutes, but that is it. Like everything else, as far as I can tell, is great in the game. It's super fun. I love the free exploration. I thought just like the climbing, just like you can climb pretty much anything, is super cool. You've got like a stamina bar, and then just like when it runs out, you drop. But it really opens up the idea of like, can I get up there? And like you can increase your stamina bar, so it's like, oh, maybe I can get up there later and stuff. Like it's super cool.
Yeah.
Food like as well.
If I make the right meal, then I'll be able to climb it or something like that.
Yeah, food is super fun in that game.
Interesting. Never thought like, you know, it's kind of funny that they made like cooking fun in like a full combat game.
Yeah. And then the other thing I have is an issue with the autosaves. I'll die, and then like it'll spawn me next to like the closest camp or whatever area that I just got into. But there's times where I like made a bunch of food and then I died and I had to make all that food again, and that shit takes a while. Like you've got to select. You get 5 ingredients to hold, so you've got to select all 5 ingredients, throw it into the bowl, and then he like sings a little song, and then it's done. Like that's to make one meal.
Is it like Monster Hunter where you actually have to time in when he's done cooking, or does he just stop automatically?
He stops, and you can skip him where he's singing to himself, but that's not the part that takes forever. The part that takes forever is actually picking all the items and going in and out of your menu.
It seems like that's the biggest issue is getting into your menu now.
Yeah, it's a real pain in the ass. I haven't been playing handheld wise, where maybe it's a little easier if you can use like some of the touchscreen features. I've been playing on the big screen.
So the Switch is actually touchscreen too. Huh.
Yep.
Didn't know that. I actually did not know that.
Bro, pick up a Switch because the next couple of things I'm going to be talking about are all about the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about surprising Lauren with one, so I'm thinking about picking one, surprising her with it. So She wants it. She really wants to play some Mario games.
She wants it.
She does. She's like willing to split it. So I'm thinking about surprising her with it.
Yeah. Well, okay. So moving along, the next couple things I've got to talk about are with the Nintendo Switch.
You're such a good boyfriend and all that to surprise your girlfriend the Switch. Oh, thank you, Ben. I know I am.
So anyway,
whoop whoop,
beep beep, Richie. So there's this game that I used to play all the freaking time at my grandma's house for the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES, and it was called Double Dragon 2. And
oh yeah, we played that actually when we were in college when we visited your grandma.
Yep.
Yep. Forgot about that. I remember. I think she even made us cookies too.
Oh yeah, no, she's a cooker for sure. So this game's called...
I felt so awkward when we did that. We were just like full grown men just playing this game, and your grandmother like at this old Nintendo, and then your grandma just comes in with this cookies. I was like, son of a bitch. It was just so like. I felt like it was 10 years old again when she did that. I was like, oh boy. Sorry, continue.
That was fine. I was drinking some water. No.
Okay, you were just like dead quiet. I was like, oh shit.
Nah, she was a good lady. So, Double Dragon 2, that was a game I used to play on the NES. What is super cool, Mike, which I just stumbled upon in the Nintendo store, is on the Nintendo Switch, they've got Double Dragon 4.
Oh, really?
And it is the exact same looking game with the same like control scheme. You can jump up in the air and do the spinny kick and all that. And it's so easy to like set up and do 2 players because it's on the Nintendo Switch. So I played that with a buddy yesterday, and holy shit, we were laughing our asses off. Like it is so fun. And I think the game's like $5 or something on the Nintendo store. You really have to dig to find it. But like,
does it have like a search bar?
Yeah, you can just type in Double Dragon.
Oh, nice. But glad to hear that.
Like, honestly, this week, dude, I've been taking my Nintendo Switch out to a couple places, and it's like, I didn't realize how much fun it is as a handheld. I've never used it as a handheld. I've got a YouTube channel that I've mentioned once or twice in the podcast before, and so everything I play, I try to record, and to do that, I've got to have it hooked up to my main TV. But the last couple days, I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I'm not going to need every single second of recorded gameplay. And it is just so much fun. I can't believe I've been missing out on it. This Nintendo Switch has been
Did you bring it to any, like, roof parties or anything like that?
No, but, so, like, the last thing I'm going to talk about in this, I'm not going to talk about it right now, but the last thing that I did this week was I went to go see the new Star Wars, and we were just waiting around. I was with a bunch of buddies, and we were at their place. And I took out my Nintendo Switch, and I was like, hey, let's play some Double Dragon. And, like, it was a game I picked up months ago. I had never even touched the game. I was like, I'm going to have to play this with someone. And my friend was like, okay. So we played it, and it, like, oh my god, it's just so nice. It's so nice to just, like, hey, you want to play a game? And then just have 2 controllers there immediately, have the kickstand. Like, I can't believe how dumb I feel for like having this for like 4 months now and never using the handheld capabilities of it. It's so good.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And the last and final thing that I was going to talk about with the Switch is that so our friend Chris, he was the one that I went to go see Star Wars with, but on the Nintendo Switch they don't have Netflix, but what they do have is Hulu. and I always was like, Hulu sucks. Like, Hulu is a shitty Netflix.
Yeah.
I couldn't be more wrong, Mike. I don't.
Well, I used to have them just so I can watch One Punch Man, and the stuff they have there are okay. But did you find some good stuff on there?
Dude, the first thing it recommended to me was South Park, and I was like, oh my god, like, not only do they have now Hulu has Futurama, South Park, and Sunny in Philadelphia, since Netflix got rid of almost all those shows.
No, yeah.
So I was like,
right,
oh my god, I can watch Sunny in Philadelphia all the seasons again. Oh my god, I can watch Futurama all the seasons again. And now I can watch South Park, like, the last 20 seasons or something. Like, South Park is a show that I am in love with. It's like Futurama for me, where I could just put it on in the background, and it could be playing all day, and it's just like, it's just fun that you can just watch any episode and like laugh about it for 10 minutes or something and then go back to what you were doing. Like, it's just a fun show to have on in the background. I've been loving Hulu, and my buddy just gave me his subscription for free. And I was like, okay, cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. But I don't think I would ever get it myself, because why would I pay, like, what would that be, like $22 for Netflix and Hulu? But I gotta be honest, they've got a pretty strong lineup these days.
Yeah, I mean, that's nice. I think, Hulu now you do have to pay for. Originally, you didn't have to pay for it, but now you do.
But Hulu quality back in the day was dog shit.
Oh, yeah, it was. And even if you paid for it, it was shit, too, because you still got commercials when you even paid for it.
Yeah, and that still actually happens.
Yeah, which is so stupid. Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, but we have to do it for the cost. Like, fuck you. It's like they charge, like, more than Netflix does, I believe.
Hulu, my buddy said it was $10 a month for him. But
okay, so I think it's actually less than Netflix then.
But I still get ads. Like, I'm not paying for it. I'm on my buddy's account, but I'm still getting ads, which is dumb. If I was paying,
still get ads no matter what.
Yeah, if I'm gonna pay for your service, I don't want to be fucking loaded with ads. Like, that's bullshit.
Yeah, it's like that's what you pay for, so you don't have to deal with the ads, because like the ads give them revenue. But if you're already paying for it, then why are you getting ads?
Exactly. But I mean, let's see if it's gonna load here. The stuff that I have. Okay, so these are the shows that I was able to find on Hulu that aren't on Netflix. So South Park. There's this show called Reaper, which came out back in the day, which it's just a stupid comedy, but it's great. There's that new animated show on Fox called Son of Zorn, where it's like that barbarian character that's drawn in with the live action people. Like, I haven't seen that yet, but it's a show I've wanted to see. They've got the entirety...
What's it called? Son of Zorn. There
Zorn.
It is. Where he showed up.
They've got the entirety of Cowboy Bebop. They've got the show Axe Cop, which was a comic book written by a 5-year-old and animated by his, like, 18-year-old brother or something. And then it just, like, it's so stupid and retarded that someone was like, hey, we should put money towards this. And they made an animated show. And it was like a YouTube thing, or it was just like an internet sensation for a while.
Yeah, I remember that when you showed me.
And, like, that's an actual show. And I was like, holy shit, that's on Hulu.
Now? Oh my god. I didn't realize it was a show now.
Mike, they got C-Lab 2021, the entirety of it, right?
Fucking C-Lab. Oh my god.
They have China, Illinois. They've got Super Jail. They've got Metalocalypse. They've got the Venture Brothers. They've got all of Shark Tank. Like,
oh my god.
They've got all of Adventure Time. They've got all of Rick and Morty. They've got all of Drunk History. Like, I was so freaking blown away with Hulu lineup. I was like, oh my god, bro. That's a strong list. Yeah.
I mean, technically, though, can't you get Drunk History, though, off of YouTube?
It started... you can get segments of it, yes. Sure.
Oh, okay. So it's actually not officially on YouTube. Okay.
No, it started out as a College Humor channel, and then Comedy Central picked them up. So you can't get, like, the new full episodes on YouTube, but you can get the old College Humor snippets, and then they have some of those, like, episodes shortened for, like, advertisement, essentially.
Right, gotcha.
Okay, so sorry, my week is taking forever here, but the last thing that...
That's fine.
Yeah. The last thing that happened was I saw Star Wars, The Last Jedi.
Good or bad?
Not too great, bud.
Yeah, I figure as much. I wasn't high. After the last one, well, actually, here, I like
no spoilers in this, by the way, guys.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so I liked Rogue One,
Mm-hmm.
I did not like the one before that though. I really did not care for that at all.
Force Awakens.
What was the one? Force Awakens. I thought that was an awful movie.
So,
So like, Ari, I'm still gonna go see it, but Ari, no, it's gonna be bad.
yeah, I mean, obviously, who's gonna miss a Star Wars film? Like, I could give it the worst review ever. People, not that I would, but you're still gonna go see it. You know, I would. Someone could tell me Star Wars is dog shit, and I'd still be like, okay, well,
Well, Force Awakens was basically dog shit for me, honestly. I was so fucking disappointed in that one.
So this is a no spoilers review, but essentially how I figured it was when The Force Awakens came out, everyone was like, oh, this movie's great. And then there was like this moving trend after a year where everyone started to realize, well, this is actually just the same fucking movie of A New Hope. Like, this is the same original trilogy just rehashed to us. And, like, it was obvious to a lot of people already, but then, like, South Park made an episode, and, like, it became more and more popular to, like, hate the new Star Wars. And it's not that it's worth really hating, it's more just that it was a safe move on Disney's part. They didn't try anything new, they just rehashed it, you know, it's... Like
I just felt like, well, the thing is, like, I hated it after I saw it. I didn't care for it when I went in bed, and it just, like, that's what it felt like. It felt like it was, like, a remake. I was like, okay, and it just didn't make sense to me. It just, like, yay, all these old characters, but I don't care. The story is still shit. I mean, that's the thing. The acting was fine, but the story is just garbage.
Yeah, that's the same thing for the new one.
Oh, my God.
So...
It's just, like...
Once again, no spoilers, but the best way I can say it is when The Force Awakens came out, a majority of people enjoyed it. Because the only movies that we had to compare it to essentially were the episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3. And people are like, oh, these are leagues better than those movies, which granted, sure, they are. But
that's not really much of a leap, though.
Yeah, I mean, so I think that, like, that movie came out, and initially everyone was like, great, this is awesome. And Disney was like, hell yeah, everyone likes the rehash idea, let's keep up with that. And then as public opinion started to sway towards, oh, wait, this is just the same shit that we've already seen. Like, I think that Disney had already been stuck with the script that they had written, and they were like, okay, well, how can we switch it up? How can we make this unpredictable?
Dude, you're already breaking my heart. Like, it's like, you already kind of gave it away for me. It's like, not in a bad way, but I already, like, with what you just said, I'm like, okay, so it's basically, this next one is just basically another rehash again.
It's
I'm like, son of a bitch.
The thing is that it's not. Is that they do some things, they make some weird changes in the writing. Like, there are so many times where you're like, oh, that person's gonna die. Oh, wait, they're not gonna die. Oh, wait, they are going to die. It's like that happens like 7 times in the movie where it looks like someone is having like a fatal move, and then they're like saved barely, and then they still fucking die at the end or something, and it's just like, it's really dumb. It's like they couldn't decide that they were like, oh, we gotta fool the audience because this is way too obvious, and then they're like, well, this still needs to happen though, and they're like, oh yeah, it'll happen, you know, like someone's like diving under the door that's closing, and oh, they don't make it, and then like, oh, the door opens and they do make it, and it's just like, well, why didn't he just originally make it through that door, you know?
What's the point? Like, what was the point of that to fake it out?
There's so much unnecessary steps to the writing. I know this is a really ambiguous way to say it because I don't want to ruin anything specifically, but holy crap, it's like they could have made the movie like 10 minutes long. Everything in the movie just feels like they're drawing it out. It's so weird.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not looking forward to seeing this movie. I don't know if I want to go see it in the theaters. Honestly, I think I might. If Lauren really wants to see it, I'll go see it. But if she's willing to see something else, I'd probably just wait until it's on DVD or something like that. Hell, like Awaken came out to DVD so freaking fast. It was on Netflix so fast too. It was like they were crazy fast.
You know, I only saw the movie once. I
only wanted to see it once. That's all I wanted to see it. After it's been a while since I actually walked out of a movie theater disappointed, but Force Awakens, I walked out. Yeah, that's like the last movie I can think of where I actually ever walked out of a movie disappointed. Rogue One, I actually liked a lot. I thought Rogue One was a good movie.
Yeah, no, it was good. If anything, this is a good transition to our top 5, by the way.
Yeah. No, I think it's good. Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm just saying that. Like I said, just before to end on knowing that one, before we go to our top five. I really liked Rogue One. Rogue One's definitely one you should go see. Force Awakens, you can pass it and you'll be totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd ever recommend to just straight up pass a Star Wars movie because you're pretty much just writing off the rest of them as like, I don't know what's happened. I don't know what happened in the past, so hopefully this makes sense.
The thing is, like, I'm doing it because I don't care anymore. Like before that movie came out, I cared, but after seeing it, I don't care. It was cool to see with Rogue One to see how they got the blueprints of the Death Star. That was an interesting story. Everything afterwards, now I'm like, I'm happy with 4, 5, and 6 and Rogue One.
Yeah. So I just have to show or I can't show you, but I'll just tell you. If you look on Rotten Tomatoes, just to show you that
you can shoot me a link.
Yeah, sure. I'll shoot you, but just to say to the audience, essentially. I mean. Actually, I can't shoot you a link because I signed out of Steam, so it wouldn't ding if anyone messaged me. But on Rotten Tomatoes, The Last Jedi, just to prove I'm not full of shit, the average rating for critics, for some fucking reason, is 93%. And so at that point, you're like, Ben, obviously you didn't see the same movie as these critics. Well, the audience score is 56%.
Wait, hold on. Ben, you still there?
Yeah. Are you there?
Hold on.
Hello?
Hold on, Ben. You stopped out for some reason. Sorry, I lost you.
Oh, okay. Are you still there right now?
Yeah, I'm still... Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. It's, hotel connection. What are you going to do?
Okay, so I'll just repeat that. Mike, so the reviews from critics got a 93% on The Last Jedi. The reviews from the audience got a 56%.
Yeah, I just pulled it up, and I think that's what happened. The movie was so bad, it dropped our connection for a bit. That's how bad it was. It was so bad, it dropped our connection. Because right when I looked it up, it just dropped it. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I don't know how to give it a 93%. Even I know, I haven't even seen it. It's not going to be a 93% movie. Just after, there was no saving this, all right, there is a way to save this series, but no way that this one's going to save it, I figured in my mind, just after that first one. It seems kind of presumptuous for me to say that, but that's how I feel about it so far, but,
I definitely don't write movies, so I'm not going to tell a professional how to do their job. I'll just say that much.
Well, I'll tell them that they did it wrong, though, at least.
I guess that's the entirety of our podcast. We can't code, so we criticize. I can't film a movie, so just fuck you and your stupid movie.
Yeah.
You and your $2 billion that you're going to make off of it.
Well, I can say, I can't do it, but I know that I'm not a unique snowflake, and I know that a lot of people probably share my opinion.
All right, Tyler Durden.
That they're going to think the same thing. They're like, yeah, it's not a good movie. But, that's Star Wars for you.
Mm-hmm.
They're good, they're bad, they'll be here forever. But I think that's a good time, though, to move on to actually good movies, which leads us to our top 5, which is our top 5 of 2017.
Top 5 movies.
Yes. I started the last time, so it's Ben's turn to start this time.
Yeah.
Once again, we do our 5 through 3, we trade, then we do our 2, trade, and then we do our last.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, what's your 5 through 3?
All right. So my lowest best movie at number 5 is Logan, which is the X-Men movie following the Wolverine as he's an old crusty fucking dude, and it was awesome. I
enjoyed it a lot too. I thought it was a great movie.
I mean, as far as movies based off of comics go, I thought it was really, really good. You're gonna notice that moving down the list, there's gonna be more originality in each one, but it's obviously there are a couple in there that it's hard to go through the entire year and not be like, I don't know, like Spider-Man or like Guardians of the Galaxy or so. I mean, there's so many fucking movies based off of things. It's hard not to have 1 or 2 in your list.
No, yeah.
But I definitely like more original screenwrites or scripts more than things that are based off of something.
Mine are a little bit different. My list is, but I didn't really see that many movies up this year, which I realized. But actually, I did see a lot, but a lot of mine are like that, so mine will have quite a bit of that.
Yeah.
So just saying.
Well,
I agree with you though. I do like originality a lot more though. I'm fully with you. I mean, like in our last podcast, I did the whole rant with the Jumanji movie. It's like I don't care they call it Jumanji in the end, but in the end, it just makes me think it's gonna be a bad movie because they call it Jumanji and it's nothing related to Jumanji at all.
Yeah, it feels like they had to hide behind the name.
Yeah, and like I'm with you. Originality is my number thing, and I feel like next year seems like there's a lot of original movies coming out. Apparently there's this movie coming out next year where it's about these mobile cities, and how they work is that they capture smaller towns and cities and they take them inside them and grow even bigger. There's a trailer that came out for it recently. I saw it. I forgot the name of it though, but it looked insanely good.
All right.
It looks stupid. It's just stupid and insane though. Because you have these you ever seen Howl Moving Castle?
Yeah. Think
of that, but giant cities.
So is it live action or is it animated?
Yeah, it's live action. Well, it's like CGI-ish live action. So I don't know if you can still call it live action.
Right.
But But sorry, continue with your list.
Well, I just wanted to quickly say, like, originality is a huge thing for me. But looking at my list, I only have 2 movies that are based off of nothing. So I feel bad about that. I don't want to just come across like a hypocrite.
Same. I'm the same way, so don't feel bad with this year.
Yeah, but so Logan was just really good. It had an entirely different pace from the rest of the X-Men movies. X-Men in general just kind of been hitting it on point lately.
Yeah. With Logan's actually on my honorable mention, so.
Oh, okay. Number 4 is Thor Ragnarok. I thought that, once again, even though it's, the third movie of a really, honestly, probably the worst superhero series that I've seen.
I like the first one a lot. I didn't care for the second one bit though. But I came in thinking that the first one was going to be shit. So I think that's why I liked it so much.
Me too.
In the end, because I just had a low expectation of it, and a lot of people had a high expectation of it.
Either way, I wasn't the biggest fan of 1 or 2. They got slowly better, but Thor Ragnarok, it was really good. The only reason it's at number 4 and not a little higher, there's 2 reasons. Is obviously, 1, it's not original, but 2 is that it felt very much like Guardians of the Galaxy, where and that's not a bad thing. It's much better than Thor had. Thor's identity beforehand as a movie series was really bad. So I'm glad that they took this really popular, well done movie series and kind of transferred some of their essence into the Thor movies, into Thor Ragnarok. But at the same time, it still feels like it's already been done before, I guess. Like Guardians of the Galaxy. Thor Ragnarok was colorful. It was great. Music was a big part of it, but these are all characteristics of Guardians of the Galaxy. So I loved it, but it's kind of a love, not even a love-hate, because I still just really like it, but it just felt like it ripped off of a series that was doing well.
The director who made Guardians of the Galaxy directed Thor Ragnarok, actually.
Are you sure about that? Because I thought you mentioned that before, and I thought it was a lie. Yeah, we've definitely talked about this before. Go look it up, because
I'm doing it right now.
Okay, good. So Thor Ragnarok at number 4. Number 3 is a movie that Mike and I both watched together. It was a movie that just totally caught me by surprise. We had a week of looking into it, and then we just found it on Netflix. But it is The Void. The Void is my number 3. I thought that movie was awesome. It was a great horror film. If you remember, I think we talked about it somewhere near the 4th or 5th podcast that we've ever made. But it was a Silent Hill type of horror film. It was really well done. Everything was very off-putting. Nothing was like a jump-out scare, but it was just like that feeling like you're trapped. I don't know how to properly describe it. It had a lot of unconventional horror elements to it.
Yeah, it was a perfect Seinfeld movie.
Yep. So those are my lower three. That's Logan at number 5, Thor Ragnarok at number 4, and The Void at number 3.
Nice. And then mine from 5 through 3. My bottom one is going to be Guardian of the Galaxies Volume 2. Really enjoyed it, but it's like, it's Volume 2. It's still a standalone. A lot of people think it couldn't really stand on its own, but actually I think it can. I really enjoyed it and that's why it's in the top 5. Just overall, just a really funny movie. Nice to sit down and enjoy. My number 3 is Lego the Batman movie, actually. That one came out this year, which I didn't realize, and I finally saw that, and my god, did I enjoy the hell out of that movie. That movie is good for everyone, adults and kids.
The animation in those movies are just spot on, too.
Oh, yeah, in the beginning of the movie, they just show off their animation in the beginning of the movie. It's insane. Like, when it first came out, I was just like, when it just opens, I'm like, holy crap. That's all I can think of, like, how much time did they take to make this movie? Just to do, like, how everything just flew so beautifully and all that. And just how they said pew every single time they shot their guns. It was freaking adorable when they did that. It's like, yes.
Freaking adorable.
And they didn't do that in the Lego movie, and I was super disappointed when I found that out. I was like, oh.
In the original Lego movie, we should
specify. The first one is the Lego movie, then the Lego Batman movie came out. And the Lego movie had a really seriously dark undertone in that movie. I was like, geez, okay. We got like super serious all of a sudden. Like we're super serial. So that's my number 4. And then surprisingly, like Ben, The Void is my number 3.
Oh no shit. Same movie, same spot. That's awesome.
And it's just exactly the same reason too. I thought it was a great movie. I felt like there were some just like the set design wasn't 100% perfect in some of the creatures and in some of the creatures, and that thing wasn't 100% perfect. But overall, it was a great fucking movie, especially just being an indie film. It was just so well done, and the story was fantastic.
Find it on Netflix and watch it. It's super fucking good.
Yeah,
The Void.
I really want them to get notarized just for this piece that they did. I really want to see more from them. I'm not necessarily want to see continuation of the Void. I just like to see them make more movies because I really like how they direct. I really like their settings, and I like to see them with more money and to see what they can do with that.
I want to see me with more money.
Well, yeah, we all want to see ourselves with more money. And so then those are my bottom 3. It's the Guardian of the Galaxies, the Lego Batman movie, and the Void.
I feel like you got to sell your movies more. I feel like maybe I spend too much time on my movies, but it feels like you always blow through them.
Well, yeah, I mean, just it's like you though. I feel like a hypocrite because I just love originalities and all that stuff a lot more. But this year it just seems a lot of rehashes and remakes, and there's not much to talk about them. But hey, they're really good stories. Well, with the Guardian of the Galaxies Volume 2. I also really enjoyed it, just with the whole father and son relationship story. That one was really good, especially what's the blue guy's name in it that controls the pen? Do you remember his name?
Keep talking, it'll come to me.
Yeah, I mean, I loved his character so much, even though I say this and I forgot his name, but I'm just shit with names. But his character backstory in that was golden. I absolutely loved it. His redemption,
Yondu,
and him just being a badass in the end of the movie. Just I don't want to spoil it, but damn, I just loved this character. It was great. And I just loved all the other characters. I felt like this one had a better connection with everyone than the first one. They were you seem to get to know them a lot better in the second one than you did in the first one. That's why I like this one so much. And I think people give it too much crap than they should in the end. Mm-hmm. And the Lego Bat movie, it's just, like I said, there's not much to say about it. It's just a movie for everyone that everyone can enjoy. And you really don't get much movies like that these days. It's never going to win an Oscar, but man, it's just fun to sit down and watch. I can rewatch that a whole bunch, forever. Well, all these movies I can rewatch all the time.
There's something, and that's another thing. Just the animation, I know I already said it, but it's so awesome in its simplicity. You're never going to go ahead and appreciate it until I don't know.
It's just one of those things that you also have to watch in high definition. Like, if you're gonna watch Lego Batman movie or the Lego movie, watch it in HD. Because if you don't, you're gonna miss so much from it. And just like I said once again, the beginning opening scene of Batman, the Lego Batman movie, is just insane on how much animation goes into it. It just blows my mind. And it's just a good. It's nothing serious. You can turn your mind off to it. But man, you get one hell of a show. Turn your mind off to this movie. It's great. And it's a nice little story for the kids, you know, nice little theme to it, you know?
Yeah, it's a fun time.
Yeah. And with the Void, like I said, it's on the top, but man, that story is just great. You don't fully understand what's going on, but you get a sense. And it does that on purpose, and you know it does it on purpose. And it just tells its story to the point. You knew, like, when you're done with a movie, you knew you got everything from the movie that they want you to get. And the only thing that held it back was their money. You could just, because my only beef with it, like I said, were some of the creatures did not, you could tell where some of the money, like, their effects wasn't the best, but they still looked creepy as hell. And I give them major points for it. But I wish, like, they had the money for Silent Hill, and man, if they did, that would just be glorious. It'd be so good. And I feel like it's kind of a bad like comparison to say Silent Hill, but Silent Hill games just nail that creepiness to a point. And all the movies though, like the games do, the movies do not though. The movies do a terrible job at it. But the Void just nails it, just like Silent Hill nails it, like just pure creepiness. It's not horror, it's not like gory or anything. It's just creepy, and I love that film. That's like my pinnacle of horror. It's just creepiness, because I'm not a fan of gore, and I'm not a fan of just like serious real life issues like rape or just like trying to survive because you're dirt poor. I just like these people trying to survive from these really creepy situations. Those are the horror movies I truly love, and that's why I love The Void so much. But once again, it suffers from not being higher up just because of the cost that went into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You happy?
No, I just feel like I spend too much time.
I know.
Our job as podcast hosts is, I mean, you got to sell someone on it, you know.
No, I appreciate. No, I did just shoot right through that way too fast.
When I get to my number one, I'm going to sell you. If you don't end up watching my number one when I say it, viewers, listeners, whatever, just why even bother continuing listening? No, please, we need you. Don't leave me. No,
leave us.
All right, my number.
Our 3 listeners.
Mike, I know that this one's going to come up on your list because we've talked about it a bit. So if it's your number 2, we can talk about it together. But my number 2 is It.
Yeah.
Is that your number 2 as well?
Yeah.
Okay. What was good about It? It was great because I never read the book. So pretty much in my interpretation, and Mike, you're in the same boat here because we both watched the original movie. It's like they took this really bad idea, which I don't mean to shit over Stephen King. I'm more shitting over the first idea or the first video. Fuck, not the first video. Just the first film adaptation of It.
Yeah.
And so it's like they took this really shitty idea and they made it 100 times better.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
And the thing is, too, is like people back then said that movie, the first It was great and was really scary. It was not. It was a shit movie. This It is good. This It is creepy. It is scary. It is horror. And it's just like The Void. It just nails my type of horror. Beautifully.
There's some weird parts in it. I'm not gonna lie. As I'm talking about it, thinking about the great parts, I'm also thinking about like that weird scene where he's just kind of doing like the little dance at the end, and it's like, why are you doing that? But there's like other. I mean, there's just like some really good. This is gonna sound really sadistic, but I like it when kids get hurt.
Yeah, it's like no, like I told, like the thing don't feel like. The funny thing is that that's what I told Ben too as well. It's like there's no like movies where kids get actually killed or hurt a lot of times. There's usually it's like that unspoken thing you don't do. But this movie says fuck it to that. This is a horror movie. Their kids are the main characters, so yeah, they're gonna get hurt. So when you're watching this movie, you have no idea what's gonna happen to these kids.
But another really cool thing, even if it wasn't, I guess even if it wasn't kids, I mean, it helps that they felt so defenseless. Like that made it more horrifying. Is that like, oh, they are so like underpowered. But
yeah, they're kids. Like, what can they do?
But the whole bigger thing, I guess, about getting hurt is that in normal action movies, it always feels like someone only takes like scratches from someone. Like, I mean, you see Superman get punched in the face and he flies across like onto like Mars, the planet, or something, and he's like, oh, that punch really hurt. And he kind of like gets up and flies back to Earth and like punches the guy back or something. Like, there's no real impact of damage there. And in comparison, on the way other side of the spectrum, people are just like dying all the time in action films. You know, you watch John Wick and like 20 people die in 1 minute, and like you don't really have an idea you don't really get like a respect for like each person's death or how much fatality is occurring in that scene. Like, what was really cool about it is that they explored that medium of the spectrum. It's not that people got just like scratches on their, you know, face and they're good to go. It's not that people just immediately died. It's that, you know, kids had like vicious cuts on their arms. Like, people were getting stabbed in the movie. People broke limbs. Like, they like, you get the sense that they just like barely scrapped through this entire venture, which is like, that was probably the coolest part about it, is that they honestly,
so real.
Yeah, they honestly felt like they were completely underpowered the entire time. And I like, that's a really hard thing to portray in a movie. You always expect the main characters to have like this upper hand. Like, they did a really good job in making it feel like it was it was like this big mountain to climb, I guess, to conquer this enemy.
Yeah. It just like, it's so good. I accidentally flipped up actually for some reason. I got so excited when you said it. It's actually my number one, but I kind of feel bad. But it's sorry. I like it so much. It's like I feel bad because I messed it up, but just like, it's so good. It's stupid good. And I'll go more into it why I like it when I say it again for my number one. But yeah, that was my bad. Sorry, I got too excited.
Oh, it's fine. So what's your number two then?
My number two is actually John Wick Chapter 2. That's my number two. I just love it because of I love the John Wick universe so much. If you don't know what John Wick is, or the series of John Wick is an ex-hitman, and he's part of this whole hitman society that has a set amount of rules with them. And he's a person that's just trying to retire, but every time he tries to retire, he somehow gets dragged into it. And when he's dragged into it, you're dragged into the world that he used to be in. And even though they don't explain much about it, they show it to you, which I absolutely just love about this movie. They just don't tell you anything. They just show you, and they expect you to know it, which is why I love it so much. And John Wick Chapter 2 is not as good as the first one, but it's just as good because it even tells you more about the world that John Wick's in. And to top it all off, John Wick is just a complete utter badass. The fight scenes are really cool looking. The second one is a little bit more beyond disbelief than the first one, but still good. And the combat, like I said, is just point on. Like, the gunfights are the best gunfights I've seen ever in any movie I've seen my entire life.
That's a good way to put it, by the way. I'm gonna stop you because I'm not gonna completely disagree with you. Like, I'm not gonna make fun of your list or anything, but I do think
I make fun of your list all the time.
Well, you're just a little asshole. No, but I think that it's worth talking about how I'm happy that you mentioned that the gunfights are a little more beyond disbelief, because that was the thing that got me. I definitely liked the first one significantly more than the second one.
Yeah. And, like, I can totally see why people don't like the second one, because, like, yeah, the second one introduces, it's not much a spoiler, it's not a spoiler or anything like that. They introduce bulletproof suits. I'm like, really? Why not? And I know it was so they can put John Wick in more of these huge, like, combat scenes in the open, but I'm like, you did such a good job in the first one, keeping like the fights in a realistic way where one person could survive it in these tight-knit areas where there's plenty of cover. But then you just want these big open sceneries that make no sense for a person to survive in a gunfight. So it's like, oh yeah, bulletproof gun suits. And they're just like these full tuxedos. They're bulletproof. I'm like, all right, that's stupid, but I'm still liking the gunfights because they're still good. But they get silly in some points. But the movie saves itself, and because it only really happens like the only gunfights I don't really like is that after is one scene, one giant scene. After that, a lot of the gunfights then become into small, tight scenarios, which is back to it comes to a more believable sense again, which is nice. It reels itself back in, and I hope for the next chapter they do the same thing where they keep it reeled in. And it's one of those few movies where I actually just got so absorbed into the world that I want to know more. But I don't. It's not one of those things like I just want to look it up to see. I want the movie to show me the world because they do such a good job of just like, here's the world. We're not going to have this exposition where someone just says something to some person who doesn't know about it because everyone in the movie already knows how the world exists, and they just show you through their camera tricks, through just the sets, through people just communicating the backgrounds, just from like these small little bit snippets that people talk about the past that they don't go into, but it explains so much more about the world, and it's so good, and that's why it's one of those series that I'm gonna buy the full set for 100% sure right away. I already bought the first one. I'm waiting. I'm just kind of buying. Every single time I go to like the Walmart or something like that, I always buy like another movie sometimes. And so like the next time I go to Walmart, next time John Wick 2 is when John Wick 2 is like $10 for Blu-ray, then I'm gonna pick it up. I don't buy $15 movies now. I wait until these are like under $10 or $10. Then they're reasonable for me to buy.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you're gonna have for anyone that doesn't know, Mike's got a pretty massive DVD Blu-ray collection.
I used to have a bigger one too, and so like I have like a regular DVD collection, but I never had a Blu-ray. But my girlfriend has a Blu-ray. Now she was with me, so now I have a Blu-ray. So now my main goal is to expand into Blu-ray now. And I'm kind of hoping my older movies die and break somehow, but they'll never will because I take such good care of them, so I can switch them to Blu-ray. And so it's kind of like a thing I really.
I kind of hope my old movies die. I mean, they never will because I'm so good at taking care of them, but I wish that they would die.
I do. It's kind of a funny feeling because I look at them like I really like to see you in Blu-ray, but I don't have the ability to throw you away or just to because you're still good quality and they can still play in the Blu-ray player, so there's no reason for me if I want to. Man, if you're ever going to watch an old movie, like really old movies that just like being in color, watch those in Blu-ray. Man, those are totally fucking amazing in Blu-ray. But that's what I just love John Wick 2 just for really. It's just the world that they made and how they don't explain it. They show you the world, and I'm really excited to learn more about the world in Chapter 3. But yeah, so that's my number 2.
Yeah.
What's your you already know my number 1. So like since they already know my number 1, I already see it. So it is another example though of just like John Wick 2. It's just like this world that they made for this creature is so good, and I guess once again it's one of those things that I can't wait for the next one to come out. I'm super excited for it, and even though I already know what's gonna happen, because like the It sort of it wasn't like the original It. I'm still super excited because once again, it's the setting's great, the characters great, the kids acting are just off the chart, nailed it. I didn't say this last time because I wanted to stop it because I forgot.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Kids acting, holy crap! I'm just gonna say this too. This year of just like kid actors, just nail it, or just good. I don't know what happened to our kids, but their acting is so much better now. And they're just all these kids. I love every single one of them. They're all great in a platonic way.
Mike loves kids.
Shut up.
He wants to rear your child.
And man, Pennywise is just his character design is so good, and the guy who plays Pennywise, top notch. And the scenes and the special effects to make this guy what Pennywise does is incredible. Mm-hmm. I couldn't get enough. I just love his voice. It's so creepy, so good, and the music in the movie, top notch in that movie. They nail every aspect. If the Void had the money like the people of It had, I feel like that's what the Void would be like. It would be like this new It movie if they had that.
There's
budget.
Definitely a few flaws that it had, but at the end of the day, the flaws did not take away from the movie enough for me to walk away from the theater saying anything short of "Wow, that was amazing."
Oh yeah, I mean there were some scenes too. Like I told you about like some of the scenes. I don't want to spoil anything, but
Yeah, it's
yeah, I
fine.
mean
We don't have to get into it. But yeah,
I'm like yeah. I'm not saying it's the 100%. None of these movies on my list are perfect. No movie's ever gonna be
but it
perfect.
was the movie that
There,
you were able to give the most flexibility to. You watched it, and you could have complained if you wanted to, but no, it was a really good, well put
yeah,
together movie.
it's nothing that would hold me back. Just like like an example, like Force Awakens. I love the Star Wars film. I love the Star Wars stories. I always will love them. But man, The Force Awakens, I cannot give that any weight at all because it's just a bad fucking movie. It's like one of those things. With this, like with it, yeah, there was something like there was maybe one or two things that threw me out a bit, but I didn't care. It was still great, and there were some things that just like there's things that brought me right back into it though. That like it saved itself and just brought me right back in. But yeah, so those are my set, and so once again, mine were. Well, actually, no, Ben, wait till you're number one.
All right. I've mentioned this in previous podcasts, so I mean, you might be able to even guess it. But my number one favorite movie of the year was Baby Driver.
Ah, God, I still haven't seen that yet.
Yep.
Dang.
So, I mean, if I have one goal this entire podcast, it is to get you to watch, to not just you, Mike, just anyone listening to this, to watch Baby Driver. So I'm not gonna like dwell on it here for like this 15-minute spiel or anything. I'll give it like a good 3 minutes. But Baby Driver, the guy who directed it is Edgar Wright. If you don't know who Edgar Wright is, Edgar Wright directed Shaun of the Dead. He directed Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, At World's End.
I did. Oh, fuck. I'm sure I gotta see it now. I didn't realize that. I didn't even know if you told me that. But damn, if he made all those movies, shit, I gotta see that so badly.
Yeah, like this guy is a comedic genius essentially, but not even that. He does really like if you've ever seen Hot Fuzz or Shaun of the Dead specifically, he does really well with audio synchronizing. So like a lot of movements.
Hot Fuzz is great. Hot Fuzz is one of my other top movies. Love that movie.
Yeah. But like a lot of action and sequences happen to a beat, and Baby Driver just takes that idea and amplifies it by 100. So what it's about is it's about this like young 20s-year-old something, and he's young 20. Wow, I can't speak. It's this 20-year-old something guy who drives. He's the getaway driver for bank heists, and so. Like, all the people that he's working with, they're like 30s, 40s, they're significantly older than him. He's kind of like this young punk. And his thing is that he's always got his headphones in. And the reason for that is because he, what is it when, they call it that he's got a hum in the drum, where his ear is always making a ringing noise. I forget what that's called.
Oh, he has tetanus.
Yeah. So, like, to drown it out, he's listening to music. And that is where they're able to sync up everything with music. Because he'll have his iPod in, and he'll tune it to a song, he'll play it. And there's like, a scene, even, where he's, like, waiting for the robbers to get back into the car. And they get back in, and he, like, starts to shift it, and he's like, wait. And he resets the song. And they're like, what are you doing? He's like, it didn't sync up right. And then, like, he starts driving or something. Like, it's just a really funny thing of just, like, a joke to... Almost like a joke to the movie itself of, like, no, of course we're going to have this sync up to the actions and movements,
Because this is this director's, like, main thing, too. God, like, I can... sorry, it's, like, one of those things. I'm so excited for this movie now, even more so.
It's
Jesus.
So good. So, I mean, the cast of characters, too, like, the actors that are in it, are super good. I'm trying to think of the people that are in it. So who's the guy from The Walking Dead that plays Negan right now? I can't remember what his name is. I'm just gonna look it up really quickly. So it's got everyone's favorite actor this year. Like every single person has loved this actor this year. Kevin Spacey. No controversy behind him at all. It's got Jamie Foxx,
of course not.
Which is excuse me, Jamie Foxx, which is a really interesting character. John Hamm, that's the guy that was in The Walking Dead. John Hamm is a really fantastic character as well. and then the main character, who's Baby, Baby Driver, is Ansel Elgort.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess this is like the way that I know that actors always try to sell their movies, and so they always try to like overhype it. But Edgar Wright has essentially said that he's turned down projects for the last 7 years, or like this is a project that he's been thinking about for the last 7 years. Like it came to him 7 years ago. He was listening to this one song, and he was like, "This would make a really good driving scene." And then just from that one idea, for the last 7 years, he's constructed this whole movie pretty much, and it is unbelievable. It's a unique, original idea. Edgar Wright has created this character by absolutely nothing other than his love for music. And like, when's the last time you've seen a great driving movie? Like, how often do they come out? Go see Baby Driver.
Doesn't Fast and Furious come out like every year?
We have had this exact same conversation on a previous podcast, so I'm not even going to get into
it. Just saying, dude. You brought it up.
Yeah, I know. I know. But seriously, that's all I'm going to say. I had my plug essentially for the movie, and I don't want to overhype it more than I clearly already have. But go see it. It's fantastic. It's already out on Blu-ray, DVD, whatever. It's just really good, very colorful, very good. Like, you'll be singing the soundtrack for months to come. So yeah, my list once again: number 5, Logan; number 4, Thor: Ragnarok; number 3, The Void; number 2, It; and number 1 is Baby fucking Driver. Mike, what's your list again?
Mine is The Guardian of the Galaxy Volume 2, the Lego Batman movie, It, then John Wick Chapter 2, and then it was John Wick Chapter 2, then It. Sorry.
All right.
My head's up my ass. Just because I messed up the order. But I got some honorable mentions. Logan, of course, like Ben. It was a really good movie. It just didn't make the list because, like Ben, it just like, I didn't want to fill my thing up with non-original things. Just like, I'm trying to, I feel like if it was really good, but it got knocked down. It just got knocked down just because of Ed, John Wick Chapter 2. So yeah. And it couldn't fit in. And I also really liked Kong of Skull Island. It wasn't my top 5, but it was still a really good movie, and I really enjoyed it. And it's something that I think you should sit down and watch with some friends, honestly, and you really enjoy the movie.
Yeah, we'll see. It looked a little wild to me, but I might check it out.
It's not like wild at all. It's a pretty tame movie. It's not like, I never felt like it's over the top.
I've got one honorable mention. It is I think it's still out in theaters even right now, but it's Coco. It's the new Pixar film. It was super good. It was original. It was honestly, it should probably.
It wasn't original. It was a rip off the Book of the Dead.
All right, Mike. Just because it's got to do with Mexicans doesn't mean that it's a ripoff.
It was the same animations. It was about Mexicans, like the last movie. It was the same animation styles, basically.
No, it wasn't.
And it was also about a guy who was trying to play music when he was trying to get a girl, and he was a poor musician and thinking that music couldn't get his girl, but in the end, music does get his girl.
Okay, clearly you've never seen the movie, so I don't know why you're talking, for one. But anyway, it's so I'm just going to shut you down right there.
It's just some kid who wants to play his music but can't, but then he finds the ability to play his music.
No, you're still wrong. You haven't seen the movie. Stop just guessing. Stop doing this shotgun approach until you hit it. Mexicans, music, dead. Just keep syncing as many of those things as possible until you hit the right key.
I will nail it.
All right.
I'll keep on hitting you up on Twitter.
Anyway, the animation, it honestly, it should have been in my top 5, but my bigger thing is when I hit, I feel like I didn't want to add too many, like, not that it's exclusively a comedy, but, I mean, the same way that Logan isn't exclusively a comedy, the same way that Thor Ragnarok or Baby Driver isn't exclusively a comedy, I really wanted to give a bit more of a dramatic effect with The Void and It in my top 5, and I didn't want to add another, like, kind of comedic adventure, I suppose. So, Coco...
But it's kind of weird, though, because, like, it's original, though. You said that you wanted more original things in your list.
Yeah, and...
So I think...
I mean, honestly,
It should have replaced Logan.
No, because I really liked Logan. Logan, it was funny, but Logan had it was much more dramatic than I think people give it credit for.
I thought it was a little bit over dramatic. I think that's like one of its downfalls for me. I'm just like, that's my opinion though.
Either way, at the very least, I would say fine. Coco probably tied at number 5 or something. Honestly, it probably should be on the list, but it felt too fresh. I guess I haven't really had a bunch of time to think it over before adding it to the list, and so that's why I've got 2 friends that are just obsessed with it, and also for that reason, I was just like,
oh, really?
Yeah,
I should give this a watch then.
It's really good. I mean, obviously, it's an honorable mention, but I'm still gonna stick with my top 5 original list and keep Coco as an honorable mention, because seriously, it is like an honorable mention is nothing to be to be looked down upon. Like, obviously, I went out of my way, out of my top 5 to mention it.
I mean, you're wrong, but you know.
All right.
But is it better than The Last Jedi?
Are you serious?
No, I'm just curious because I might just take Lauren to see that instead and say The Last Jedi.
A movie that I just said was a great honorable mention for possible top 5 best movies of the year versus a movie that I shat on, like at the beginning of the podcast.
Ben, you should know I never take your list seriously. No, I'm just joking. I'm just fucking with you.
God damn it.
I'm just trying to piss you off.
It's working.
Good.
All right. So,
whoop, whoop.
Oh my god. When are we done? Okay, so Mike and I mean, this is like pretty much the norm these days. We couldn't find a news story that really captivated us, but I kind of like when we take our own thing and have our own subject, I suppose. You know, like we talked about cryptocurrency the episode before this one, and the other one I can't remember the one before that.
So it's a nice surprise.
Yeah,
it's a nice surprise.
I like it, and a lot of the times too with news and stuff, we end up just talking about a lot of shit we don't even know. I mean, hell, that was kind of the situation with cryptocurrency, but we're working on it.
Still kind of the same thing now too with it.
Yep. Anyway, so this news story here, less of a news story, but very timely. We decided to do the most anticipated games for us for 2018. So,
man, and I got a list.
Yeah, and once again, I don't like these are all anticipated games. We haven't played them. We've only seen what we've seen, like from trailers and basic gameplay. So, like, I don't think we need to spend too much time on each game. Like, the game companies can talk about whatever features they're going to add into it, but realistically, all we know is just, check out the trailer for these games, I think.
Yeah. And, I'm just, I always try to look at I really do not care. And, honestly, the problem, though, too, is that, the gameplay trailers, they even deceive in that, too, when they add their own special effects to it to make them look better. If you look at past games, there's so many evidence of that, too. But, so that's why I always try to I always try to take these from a distance with a grain of salt. And even with a grain of salt, I'm still pretty excited for these games to come out, and I want to play them.
Yeah, totally. Mike, so what do you got? If I've got any repeaters on my list that's also on your list, I'm going to chime in as well. But go for it. What do you got?
I guess I'm going to just start with, number one I'm really excited for is a game called A Way Out. And this game was made by the people who made Twin Brothers, which was a very simple game of when you control two brothers with your two, and you control one brother with the analog stick and the other brother with the other analog stick.
This game's called A New Way Out, isn't it?
Oh, is it A New Way Out? I thought it was just called A Way Out.
I'm pretty sure it's called A New Way Out.
It's called A Way Out. It's not called A New Way Out.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at it right now. It's for the PS4, Xbox One, and the PC, and it's a game where it's co-op only.
All right, I'm dumb.
And the story, so this, no, it's fine, dude. I make mistakes all the fucking time.
I know.
But
continue.
So I'm gonna just read off a basic description for this one, but it's Now you can experience your very own. Like, actually, this is a description of someone else's though. But you have to escape from prison.
I've got a description pulled up here.
Oh yeah, read your description of it then, please.
Okay, so
this is some random writers.
A New Way Out is an upcoming action-adventure video game being developed by Hazelight and published by Electronic Arts under the EA Originals program. It's the second video game to be directed by Joseph Fares after Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. So it doesn't really go into the game too much, but it's a two-person puzzle game.
Is always played in, like, in mine's a little bit more description. It is always played in a split screen co-op, even if you play online. You play as inmates Leo and Vincent Burgundy working together to bust out of prison and reclaim their freedom. The persistent split screen creates some intriguing opportunities for teamwork. For instance, one player might be locked in the cutscene while the other can freely move about. Playing the duo's next moves or viewing critical story scenes from a different perspective. Oh, that's cool. So when someone's in the cutscene talking to someone, you can listen, and then while they're still in the cutscene, do it before, like, so like a person probably could distract a guard or something in a cutscene while you do an action, all that stuff.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
That's pretty. And so I'm really excited for it because it's co-op only, and it's always split screen, and it's one of those things I really want to play with my girlfriend. It'd be an interesting game to play.
You don't want to play with me?
Yeah, go fuck yourself. I can play with you too, but it's like, I don't know. It's like it's a great sit down co-op game too. But yeah, I mean, I would like to play with anyone with this.
Like, we have a dual person co-host podcast, like you and me,
and I'm have to talk to you for an hour and a half, basically.
I'm not the first person you would choose to play the ideal co-op game with. Go fuck yourself.
Like, I haven't brought it up to her yet, so yeah, we can delay. If you're like, I didn't know if you were interested in this game or not.
No,
that's the thing.
Good.
That's the reason why I said her, because you didn't say anything about this game before, and like, I'm super excited for this. The graphics looks really cool. Just the idea of just breaking out of prison sounds awesome. And in one of the descriptions, I lost it though. I can't find it though. They say like there's multiple ways to break out of prison too. So that seems like a lot of fun to do. And so that's like my number one exciting game. Like, I am going to pick up this game if it keeps to its words when it comes out. Another game that's coming out next year is Metroid Exodus, and that is the Metro games where I talked about in previous podcast, where it's in post-public. It's after like nuclear war, and it revolves around. It's called Metro. It's called Metro because it revolves around Russians' subway system, metro system, which is they actually converted their metros underground to be nuclear bunkers for just in case if World War III ever happened. And so it bases the story off in Russia of people surviving in those metro stations. And the third one, it looks like you actually find areas that are not radiated above ground. So a lot of the gameplay will be above ground without worrying about radiations or being like, because in other games you always have to have a gas mask and like you have to change out canisters. In this one, it looks like you won't have to do that all the time. And it looks really good, and I hope with this one they don't freaking make a difficult setting the hardest difficult setting as DLC, because even though it was the hardest difficult setting, it was called realism, and that's when your enemies die just as easily as you did, and that's like one bullet or two bullets kill them instantly. And I'm dying for that game mode back in, but I will not pay for it, even though it was only $2, or I think it was actually like $1.50.
Man, you are like covering 100 topics at once here. I mean, at least explain that like the previous game offered a mode called Ranger Mode, where bullets were realistically, if they hit you, you would die. Like you made like huge leaps in the last 30 seconds.
I'm sorry. It's just like it really pisses me off. It's one of those touchy subjects with me with Metroid. I love them, but man, they're assholes at the same time. But yeah, so I'm excited to see how that game comes out. If they have Ranger Mode for free, it sounds so stupid when I have to say that. If they have Ranger Mode free with the game, I'm definitely picking it up to play it. If not, I'm not even going to bother with it because they can go fuck themselves. Then Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out next year. Man, Red Dead Redemption 1 was fun as fuck. I cannot see what they do with this second one just because of Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm super excited to see what they do. If they come up with a first-person mode with Red Redemption 2, that would be insanely cool.
Yeah.
The multiplayer was fun as hell. Just like when I used to play with my brother, just like with us in this open world, it was stupid fun. But man, even the single player was fun just to roam around that thing. There were so many things you could do: rob banks, lasso people, time on tracks, something hit by trains, or just drag them behind your horse until they died. Yeah, I mean, if you want to be like ex-con cowboy, Redemption was a way to feel it. And Red Dead Redemption, the first one, had a really good DLC with their zombie pack with it. It was super good. Another game I'm excited for is Soul Calibur 6. I am a super fan of Soul Calibur games. It's my favorite fighting game out there, Soul Calibur. Huh. Yeah, it's so good.
I didn't know that.
It's one of the games I can play all the time. I was good at it, even when I got wrecked, I still had fun. I love the characters in them. They were really well rounded. They're all super unique, but each of them was all of them were viable characters to play as, which was awesome. Yet they were all so different from each other. And then like in the later ones, their customizations in that game were super good and fun to do. And they had really good challenge modes too. Soul Calibur had like the best challenge modes to play in. Another game coming out next year is Anthem. It's a giant MMO game it's an MMO game where like everyone has unique mechs. It just looks really cool, and I just want to play it. But it's done by EA, and usually EA makes I don't really care much for EA games because I'm not just saying that because it's it's cool to bash EA, but when we brought it up, I haven't bought an EA game in forever. And it's not because I avoid them. They never interested me at all. So it looks good through the trailers, but is it going to be good when it comes out? That's the question. But it is something I'm looking forward to for next year. But it's probably not going to pick it up, and they're going to somehow drop the ball. Death Stranding, of course, Ben. That's probably on your list.
It actually isn't. There's not enough information for me to. Not that I'm not excited about it, but I have no reason to think it's going to come out in 2018. We haven't seen even any gameplay, so I'm not getting my hopes up. I think it's going to be a delayed release.
But after what was that demo called again? That was for Silent Hill that got canceled.
Hills. PT.
Hills?
Well, it's called PT, but it's Silent Hills.
Yeah, after the demo PT, that's the main reason why I'm excited for it, just for how well PT was. And if just his creativity, was the main thing part of that. So I'm really excited to be in the world that he makes, to see how creepy he can be. And then my second last one is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Final Fantasy VII, I really enjoyed the storyline and the playing it, but I have no idea why they broke it up into different sections of a game. I think that's stupid, but whatever. It's going to be a multiple separate buying game.
Oh, really? Are you sure?
Yep, 100%.
Man.
I know that for a fact. It's stupid. They changed some things in the storyline, and the combat is no longer turn-based. It's more of the recent Final Fantasy games where you move around and stuff. But why did you break it up into multiple games when everyone was able to buy as one game? It's so frustrating. And it's just a money-grabbing thing to do. And my last game on the list, because I just want to get off of that, is The Last of Us Part 2. I love the first one.
Yeah, that one's on my list.
Game of the year. Last of Us was freaking amazing. And the second one is going to be just as good. Because even if it's just the same thing of Last of Us, just a continuation of the story, I don't care. The game was so much fun. The graphics, the style of the game was perfect. Nailed. It doesn't even need to look any better, really. I just can't wait to bash some more people's heads in, I can't wait to see the characters again. I'm just really just want to have 2x4 and just bash some bandits' heads in with it. It's so good.
Yeah, Last of Us Part 2 does look super good. I haven't seen too much about it. I saw the trailer where
I haven't seen anything of it yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm just excited for it. It's just not because I was avoiding it. I was going down the list because I typed in games coming out in 2018. I saw that. I'm like, fuck yeah, it's on my list.
Yeah, they've got some trailer. I've only seen one trailer, and it's not gameplay or anything. But the way that they're setting it up makes me feel like they haven't changed any. That story still plays a really large role in the game. So I'm excited about that.
It's one of those few games that has a really good story and really good gameplay. And even though it's a story-based game, the amount of freedom you have to do in that game, I guess not to change the story, but just to have the ability to attack a situation is fantastic. It's so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for it. Those are the games I really enjoy. The ones that give you options and multiple options that will succeed. Some will be easier than others, and some will be more fun than others, and some will be harder than others. But they will all be like all of them will lead to success, anyways. Which I just love about games when they do that. And man, Last of Us nailed it, and I hope the same thing happens with Last of Us Part 2. Though that's my 2018. What about you, Ben?
So I've got like 7 games. So once again, this is only going to be based off of things that we know. So I don't want to overhype anything because once again, we don't know what to expect from. So the first game is Spider-Man. The new Spider-Man looks super good. They've showed actually some gameplay. So this one I feel a little more comfortable about talking about. But if you remember, there was a Spider-Man that came out for the PlayStation 2 I think it was the PlayStation 2, where his webs actually acted like pendulums, like on buildings. Depending on where you shot your web, like you'd swing into that building, and so there was like this mechanic where you did actually have to keep shooting like right side, left side, right side, so you centered yourself in the middle of a road and you didn't just like slide against a wall. Like, it sounds like a really simple, easy thing and obvious thing to do for a Spider-Man game, but you'd be surprised how many Spider-Man games just haven't gotten the web swinging down since that PS2 game. And this one, it looks like they have kind of figured it out. I mean, I can't say anything for the combat. I can't say anything for any of the mechanics aside from the web swinging, because that was kind of one thing that they were emphasizing in the gameplay. But it looks like a really well put together game. The universe itself feels very open, like Grand Theft Auto. I get the impression that you can like see people inside of stores when you're on the street, and like it doesn't just feel like buildings are just like big blocks. It feels like, from what I can tell, it looks like they're like living. They feel like a bit more atmospheric. The next game I wanted to talk about is something that's come up for us accidentally a few times, and I guess because it's going through development hell, but that doesn't matter. It just looks like such a cool game. It reminds me of Bloodborne almost, but it's called Vampire, and that's spelled...
Yeah, I saw...
What's that?
I saw, like, I was going to put my list, but I'm like, I'm not really, like, excited for it. It was like... It's like, I'm not like fully excited for it as much anymore. After you tell me how much it was delayed, I'm just like really worried about the game. I'm worried for the developers, just for how much delays there happened for that game.
The idea of it sounds really cool, though. So, Mike, you went to try to explain it when it was on your coming out list once, but I've done some research into it a little bit, and some of the ideas that they're throwing around sound really unique. So, if you've ever played the game Fable, any of the Fable games, if you kill characters, I mean, same thing as Skyrim. If you kill characters, it affects the way that, it affects people, like quests and stuff that you can do afterwards.
Oh, that's cool.
So what was really cool about Vampires that you play as a doctor who's infected, who's infected with the vampiric, he's a vampire.
You're a thank you. Just say it.
Yeah, whatever it is. But like you're a new vampire, I guess, or I guess I'm just kind of making that assumption. But like anytime that you choose to feed off of someone, which you kind of have to choose, like who to feed off of, like that vastly changes who you can talk to, what missions you can do, what quests are available, future, like moving forward. But as a vampire, you kind of have to do it. Like it's not like BioShock from how well. Okay, well, once again, this is more speculation. This is what I hope it is, but I get the impression that it's not like BioShock, where like you save all the girls and then like that's the obvious right thing to do, and then you get this huge payload at the end. Like this sounds legitimately like you're going to be fucking weak through the game if you don't feed. But if you do feed, obviously the huge consequences are that you are missing quests, you're missing interactions with characters, and like like that sounds really cool to me.
Yeah, like I hope they don't do like what BioShock failed at, because in BioShock, like you said, if you don't feed them the girls, sure you get you do a good thing, but you get less power. Which was stupid about in BioShock is that if you didn't feed on like 3 girls, you got even more experience points to expend than if you did feed on them, which was stupid. Yeah, so I really hope it
was a no contest situation. You were always going to choose one over the other.
And yeah, for that one, it was like, you just don't feed on them, because even if you don't feed, even though you don't get many powers, then after 2 more, you get a ton more free power. And then so like I hope that like if they stick to their guns and actually make it like a true for my choice of being good or just like getting extra power, I'm fully excited for this game, man. Because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it just looks like a dope game. Like, it looks like Bloodborne in the sense that it's got that very old style London-ish, like everything is dirty and gross and just black and grimy. Like, it just looks super cool. Moving forward, we're gonna get into a couple games that Mike, the last one I saved, the last game I'm gonna talk about, you might have seen it at E3, but it was a really smaller game. I think you're gonna love it, so I'm gonna get to that one at the end. But
Okay.
the next game I want to talk about is System Shock. It's a remake from a game that came out in 1994, but essentially,
Oh yeah.
yeah. And this, like, if you've ever heard of, like, type in like best horror games ever, System Shock 2 is absolutely 100% going to come up on any list. Everyone loves System Shock 2.
I never played it, but yeah, that's all I hear about. Like, people are excited about this game because people say, "Oh, it looks exactly like System Shock 2." I'm like, I never played it, but man, people all talk that shit like it's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm not going to pretend that I've played System Shock 2, but pretty much what they're doing.
Okay, good.
Pretty much what they're doing is they're taking this fantastic game that came out, and granted, it is not an original idea, but when it comes to games, you get a bit more flexibility with what kind of a story you want to tell, instead of versus movies where it seems like the same fucking shit happens all the time. But
Yeah.
so System Shock, it pretty much it's a sci-fi. Think of Dead Space. Think of I'm trying to think of what I'll think of, like Doom, or, well, not Doom in the sense of like over the top gore, but like you play as someone who's stuck in a spacecraft, and it's the AI that is actually attacking you from what I've heard. So yes, like you're trapped on the spaceship that's pretty much trying to kill you. So
It reminds me of a board game, actually.
yeah.
I just can't remember the name of it though. I'll have to look it up later.
So yeah, that's System Shock. I've never played the original games. I haven't played the one that's coming out or anything. I've only heard just that people are very excited for System Shock. Moving on, there's the new God of War game, which pretty much feels. I mean, I've never played God of War. Well, I've never beat a God of War, I should say. I've played it.
Never played them, but this one looks very beautiful. It looks like it's gonna be fun.
It looks almost like my small rant with Guardians of the Galaxy / Thor Ragnarok. It looks good, but it also just looks like they took The Last of Us and then just copy pasted it God of War into it. Like, it looks totally nothing like the original God of Wars. I mean, he's like raising this kid, he's old, he's crusty. It looks totally like The Last of Us. So that's the only reason I'm like, maybe not. You know, it could, like, it looks good, but it looks good because it's pretty much using another game's formula, you know?
Yeah. If it works, it works.
Yeah. So the last two games I want to talk about briefly are just games that they're not AAA games, they're just games that I'm super excited about. So the first one, I did play the original, but I forgot that they were even making this until I looked it up an hour and a half ago. But it's The Wolf Among Us Season 2. Mike, did you know that they're making a sequel for The Wolf Among Us?
No, I still got to beat that. I sat like halfway through.
First one was awesome. So for anyone that hasn't played The Wolf Among Us, this game is a game by Telltale, who makes these very story-driven games. You know, someone asks you, like, or like in The Wolf Among Us, you play as a detective, and you get all these options how to talk to people, and, like, you know, depending on if you're nicer or meaner at certain situations, they'll trust you more, they'll reveal information or whatever. I know what you're thinking about.
No, it's not, like, I'm thinking of that, but it wasn't with that making me laugh. It was just like there's these characters that you run into in the beginning of the game, and like there's these two that were like having this love quarrel, and they keep on trying to drag you into it, and I just loved it because I just kept on playing like, no, stop talking to me, and they always get the try to talk, and I was like, no, I'm not dealing with your shit. And just always laugh every time I saw them. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be saying no again. Apparently, it's like, yep.
I don't care. I don't care.
They're trying to tell the relationship issues. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to solve a fucking mystery, and you're trying to tell me about your love problems? Go fuck yourselves. I got a job to do.
Yeah.
I just laugh every single time I saw it, like, oh, it's gonna be good.
So yeah, Wolf Among Us Season 2. It's one of I've been really, like, beaten the shit out of Telltale games recently because they just kind of feel like they just feel like the same thing, copy and pasted. But The Wolf Among Us, instead of just having choices, what they did was they added in the
quick time events.
No. Those have always been there. But they added in the idea of a murder mystery. So it's not only like your relationships with people, but it's also the fact that now you're trying to get information out of them as like a very common theme. Like every person that you talk to, you kind of have to choose to play good cop, bad cop. And that was like just it seems so obvious. Like that a game driven by choices and character and social interactions should be a murder mystery like cop interrogation game. Like it's such a perfect fit.
Yeah.
And then the last game...
Yeah, I think it's very well done, too.
Yeah. And the last game I want to talk about, Mike, feel free to look it up. It's called War Groove. This game was shown at E3 last year, and what it is it kind of reminds me... I didn't play Advance Wars personally, but it kind of reminds me of Advance Wars.
Saw this on the list when I was looking at games, and I was like, wow, that looks like I wanted to put on my list, but I just have no idea what it's about. But I saw that on the list, and I was like, oh my god, that looks exactly like... Yeah, I'm like looking at these things. I'm excited for this.
I get the impression that also some of the fighting and the combat also looks like Fire Emblem a bit, but pretty much what it is you get it's a 2D... kind of like old school Final Fantasy style. Like you have these characters on a big world map, and the world map changes every single time. It's randomly generated, but so there's like rivers, there's forests, there's bridges, and one enemies start on one side and you start on the other. And it's not a huge map or anything, but there are these choke points on the road that you kind of take, and then in those points, that's where you initiate your combat. But what was really cool about it is so not only the fact that all these maps are customly, randomly created, but you can make your own maps. It looks like a fantastically fun cooperative game to play with friends. Like, I was just going to check out what consoles it came out for, because if it came out for the Nintendo Switch, like, that is probably a day one buy for me. It looks unbelievable.
Dude, it's exactly Advance Wars, but in medieval times. So yeah, you're going to love this game.
Yeah, it says Wargroove will give Nintendo Switch owners their Advance Wars fix. So yeah, it's coming out for Nintendo Switch. I'm sold.
Yeah, it looks awesome. It looks super fun.
It looks like the ideal just couch co-op 2-person game. Like I've been talking about like using my Switch with friends more. That is the game to play on your Switch.
Okay, I just pulled a screenshot for one of the things. So there are these guys with machine guns, and they're shooting at this one Viking guy that has 4 puppies in front of them. So I'm super excited to shoot a bunch of dogs with guns. That seems like funny as fuck.
You're a terrible person.
It's like the funniest thing I'm looking at. There's like these foot soldiers just shooting a guy with 4 dogs, like walking in the middle of a city too. So this guy just looks like he's walking his dogs, and he's getting gunned down by like a military squad. I'm like, what the fuck? It looks so silly, but I'm super excited for it. And yeah, if I get a Switch, yeah, this is definitely a day one buy for me too.
Yep. So those are my games. And honestly, I didn't find too many games coming out on Steam. I've only got one, so I may as well just quickly say it while we're talking about this. But it's not even an original game. But it's not a deal breaker. But it's Bridge Constructor Portal Edition. So
that was my list. That was one of the games on my list too. I'm definitely picking that one up. I love Portal, and I like those. Like I enjoy bridge construction games too.
I enjoy bitches.
So it's. Well, I mean, who doesn't enjoy bitches though? That's kind of a stupid thing. I mean, who doesn't? Come on, Ben. Seriously, wait.
They're all right, I guess.
But yeah, that was on my list too. Why don't you explain what it is?
Bridge Constructor. It's a cute little puzzle game.
Damn right it is.
So pretty much the original Bridge Constructor was you get a car, and it's a physics-based puzzle game. So you get a car, you get basic bridge building materials, and you have to make a truss bridge or a suspension bridge or whatever. But the idea is to make...
Truss bridge.
What?
I thought you said trust bridge, like trust fall.
Oh.
Like, I trust you. I was like...
A lot of the horrible creations I came up with, what I would consider a trust bridge. The driver that had to drive across the bridge, I'm sure he was like, well, if you say it's good, you know.
It's not like I have a wife or kid or anything.
I got 13. No. So the basic idea is just to get from one side of the river to the other, and you have to build a bridge with very limited materials or as few materials as you can possibly manage. Bridge Constructor Portal Edition, it does the same thing, but it adds in portals like from the game Portal. So you drive an Aperture Science truck over, over some crevasse or a bridge or whatever. But what you can do is that you can gain momentum by using portals. So like your truck will hit a portal in the road and fall through, and then that portal is connected to like back on the original side of the bridge that you started on, but at an angle, and it'll just like launch your truck over the entire bridge or something. I only saw a trailer for like a minute. I don't want to overhype what it is. Honestly, it didn't even look that impressive, but at the end of the day, it was a game that I could tell was a polished, good game. They're not going to cheat you out of your money. And if you're the type of person that likes Bridge Constructor, then it definitely is something to get excited about.
Nice. Any other games?
No, that's it. That's all I got. I didn't find shit.
I got a few, and just like
garbage this week.
It's actually just like another Advanced War Games. It's called Tiny Metal. It's coming out the 21st. And it's exactly Advanced Wars, but in more in a 3D model look. And that's all I can say about it. I'm really excited for it. Depending on the cost, I'm definitely going to pick it up to play it. It looks like a lot of fun. Another game that I noticed was coming out was called Alien Mayhem. It's coming out the 19th. I'm not picking up, but it looks like another goat simulator, except this time you play as an alien, and you get a bunch of alien equipment to mess with the townspeople. It looks exactly like Goat Simulator. And it's just like one of those things I decided to put out there because I know that everyone's going to start seeing it everywhere on YouTube. If you watch Let's Plays or anything like that, you're going to be seeing this game a lot.
Oh yeah, this looks shitty. in like the way that it's purposefully supposed to be shitty.
Exactly. It's freaking Goat Simulator. You already explained Bridge Construction Portal. That was on there. I have another game here. Let's see. Let me get this copied on here. I actually looked at this game yesterday, so I have to re-pull this stuff up again. It's called Howl. I know this one. It says it's just coming out soon. It's a 2D pixel game. You go left and right, and it just uses a program where you just get attacked by swarms and swarms of monsters. It looks really interesting. This looks like a fun little shooter game to play by yourself. And all it says, though, release date soon. It's one of those things, like I said, it has no date on it. And another game that was supposed to come out the 18th, but got delayed to the 27th, like Fen Prologue. I'm going to bring it up next week because it's going to be one of those things I'm going to definitely play because it looks fun. And so I'm going to just pass on that one. And but yeah, that was really it, though, for me, for my list. I'm definitely picking up Tiny Metal. Pretty much sure I'm going to pick up Bridge Constructor Portal just to play that while I'm up in, because I'll be in Mississippi for Christmas. So I'm not going to have any.
I already knew it.
Yep. I'm not going to have any internet connection, so I'm going to have to be playing a lot of single player games. But that's another thing that we're going to have to talk about, though, is that so next week is going to be the holidays coming up. So me and Ben are not going to be at our own places at home, and it's going to be the holidays. So the podcast, there might be a delay in the podcast for next week.
At the very worst, we would take a week off. At the very best, we're probably going to have to delay it, or it might come out a couple days early or later. That's pretty much the gist of it. If you listen to our podcast and you want to keep updated, just check our Facebook page out. I'm sure that either of us, we're going to be at relatives' houses. Like, what the fuck does anyone do at the relatives' house? We're going to be on Facebook, and we'll probably give everyone updates.
Yeah, it's like we're not going to have much time to do much. We hang out with family, loved ones, friends, and all that, as well as you guys will be. I'm sorry that we won't. We're sorry we won't be able to give you content to listen to avoid them. So you're gonna have to deal with them.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to see if we can get it out. We'll blast it on our social media pages everywhere. We'll bug the shit out of you, telling you it's out there. but don't get too excited.
But what is something? Let me completely contradict Mike here after he's done talking. Something that is exciting that's coming up is the end of the year. So whoop whoop. Actually, you know what? It actually is worth a whoop whoop because we did top 5 best movies of the year. I mean, next episode is an episode to get excited about. We're going to be doing top 5 best video games of the year. So,
and I'm actually going to be really into this list. I'm actually going to see and compare games. I'm not going to like a lot of these lists. Like I do put some time into them and think about them, but I don't put too much care into them. This one I'm actually going to put some care. Why would you admit that? Well, I mean, it's just because it's more fun that way. You know, for me, I find it's more fun to really do it. Like, well, I did actually try with the movie, the top 5 too. But this is the game of the year. Now, we started this podcast for gaming, so I really care about this list. So I'm gonna fully try to nail this one.
Yeah.
So even though if it doesn't come out, even if we do not have a podcast next week, this is still gonna be our next thing that we talk about is the game of the year.
Yeah, episode 14, game of the year for 27 or games of the year for 2017. So that is absolutely something to look forward to. Also, Mike, I was going to mention this before we started the podcast, but I may as well do it right now. I think I'm going to start linking anything that we talk about on Steam that's coming out, like in our games coming out segment that we just had. I think we should link those to our Facebook account as well.
I totally agree. No, yeah, I think should we put that in the bottom of the comment sections of our videos when we post them up?
Oh, okay. I'm going to make separate Facebook posts of each game. So I'll do Bridge Constructor. I'll link a YouTube video about it or something.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, I'll do the same thing too. The ones I choose.
All right.
It'll be fun to do.
Also, after we're done recording this, I'm also going to be adding a Baby Driver trailer to that because. Anyone that still hasn't seen it, go see it. I know you haven't had a chance to go see it since I mentioned it, but go fucking see it.
I think it might be one of those things I see when I get back home with Lauren, or like we'll probably just rent it too when we're back at Mississippi.
Just go buy it. You're already gonna love it. I'm gonna get it to you for Christmas, bud. Merry Christmas! It's your favorite movie. I haven't seen this, Ben. You're gonna love it.
It's gonna be your favorite movie. Like, okay.
And Ben has officially overhyped the movie. Now Mike and everyone else is going to absolutely hate it. But, no, I mean, that's all I got to talk about. Very excited for next week's, or for next podcast, episode 14. Gonna be a good one. Otherwise, Mike, you had anything else to say?
That's it. You guys have a good week. Have fun. Stay clean.
Yep.
Work on.
Good fight. Good night.
All right, bye.